focus, aim, ready. Speed up in the race, fall back, no chase. Turn up with the bass, gotta level up your game. Looking for the fight, target inside. An eye for an eye, gotta level to the sky. I'm bulletproof, I'm bulletproof. I do what I want and I'm breaking through. I'm bulletproof, I'm bulletproof. Got nothing to lose and I'm coming for you. I'm bulletproof, I'm bulletproof. I do what I want and I'm breaking through. I'm bulletproof, I'm bulletproof. I pull the trigger. Higher, let fall. Higher, higher, let fall. I pull the trigger. Higher, let fall. I pull the trigger. Higher, let fall. I pull the trigger. Speed up in a race, fall back, no chase. Turn up with the bass, gotta level up your game. Looking for the fight, target inside. An eye for an eye, gotta level to the sky. I dream bigger, that 10 figure. My aim is quicker, I pull the trigger. I dream bigger, that 10 figure. My aim is quicker, I pull the trigger. I'm bulletproof, I'm bulletproof. I do what I want and I'm breaking through. I'm bulletproof, I'm bulletproof. Got nothing to lose and I'm coming for you. I'm bulletproof, I'm bulletproof. I do what I want and I'm
years, we brought justice to our city. We made mistakes, fought amongst ourselves. Many of us fell along the way.
I almost admire your perseverance, Tyson. You and I could have been a great team.
You'll never put your hands on my research. This ends today. You need to fight back! Sonya is controlling you!
No, old friend. She freed me.
Well done, Cheddar.
You! Free!
Quite a show. Why waste your talent? Ever thought about becoming...
The scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count! And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. It's your call.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is a Free Fire World Series USA 2026 Summer. Group stages is done and dusted, but even as the smoke clears out, we're welcoming the teams that will be bringing more fire into knockout stage. That's 2 days of back-to-back excitement and chances to get in the grand finals. On the desk, I'm Neptune the Gentleman Garcia. Joe, my brother, and Sasha AJ will be your casters all throughout this tournament.
Exciting stuff once again, Neptune. This time, lesser opportunities, more fun for us as we watch these teams annihilate each other out there. We are going to shave off 6 more squads before we step on into the grand finals. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the next 2 days because it's not going to be easy. We talked about this at the very start of our journey, at the survival stage, where, teams were pulling away tons of numbers in those lobbies. We said it was possible because there are a lot of bottom feeders over there. But here, the competition is going to get so much more tougher. And that also will make any team that ravages the lobby so much more impressive as well.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, looking at the leaderboard, when we had that first phase, when we have that group stage, there's only a few teams that manage to pull away, really, out of everyone else. And this it makes it even more exciting because the groupings would be different this time around. They might be ending up with a different set, and with this alone, it might change their pace. It's either an advantage for them because they will be beating up some of the teams that are not that aggressive, or they will be joined with a few more aggressive squad that makes elimination quite difficult.
Yeah, so far, no booyahs, no problem, man. But you gotta shape up the way you get to that final circle. It's starting to become a big problem for many squads here. There are a few booyah specialists in the competition thus far. DZ Esports have proven themselves to be capable of finding that final circle, bringing in a lot of placement points, getting those booyahs, GCT Arrow, Cartel Sir. Now, as far as Caesar is concerned, obviously they would want to put a little bit more effort in the direction of those eliminations as well. Because if you don't get those big numbers this time, surviving is going to be difficult, Neptune. So the landscape's about to change a little bit. I'm really interested to see how some of these teams navigate the situation out there. Do you go all out? Do you go looking for those eliminations like we know this server loves to do? Or do you just start to play safe, man? Do you avoid a lot of these engagements, get into that final circle just to guarantee yourself the points? Because it's not going to matter when we get to the grand final. So you got to start practicing for that right now.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, I guess for some of the teams who did on group stages a little bit better on placement, it's a good training ground to find a final circle and vice versa. So at this point in knockout stage, we know that they have the capacity to do so, and this is a good training ground as well to try and build in the other side of those numbers. So I'm really looking forward of those changes that will be happening, or probably a balance of both because they really need it on that final day grand finals.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Mia Corp had a fantastic run as well. One of the teams who were not looking for that final circle much at all. They are going to be in Paris for the Esports World Cup very soon in about 30 days. And I think, this is a squad that's preparing for beyond the grand finals. They need to prepare for the international stage. So I'm very interested to see how their run is going to be like for the next 3 days as well. Because it doesn't seem like they've been serious so far. And that's quite respectable because even though they're not serious, they're still very comfortable in the competition.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, for some, I guess they're learning for some other regions coming into global or the world stage wherein they have shown so much in their own local league. And it's a good thing as well for Mia Corp that their qualification was a season ahead. Instead of like just happening in the summer because they have done enough already to bring in the numbers, to bring in those points and grab that championship, and this is a time for them to lay low. So there's a good chance that we might see a little bit less of that at this point, and then towards at Esports World Cup, that's where more of the numbers comes in, but a little bit of cash doesn't hurt that much.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree with you, right? There's just not much of a reason apart from that money for them to go all out and show what they've got in terms of their rotations, in terms of what they're capable of. You want to make sure you don't give away too much information about your squad that the opponents can study, but you might also be taking your hands off of some good old prize pool money. But I get where you're coming from, man. EWC probably is a couple of ranks higher. But INV, a team like INV, we expected a lot from them and they delivered. Not on the booyahs, right? But in terms of the eliminations, man, INV was just one of those squads who just could not stop harvesting those souls from these lobbies, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to see more of INV in terms of elimination, but again, it's placement point, the balance between elimination and placement point, because you cannot just go one way. Otherwise, it will tip over when we jump into battles just like this, knockout stage, wherein some of the teams has managed to do a lot already. Even if they have played it safe and just went in placement, elimination-wise, this is where you're going to rocket. And I pointed it out earlier as well, if you have a lot of eliminators out here, you will have less chances of moving up because all those numbers will be spread out across the team. So you need to go either way, adjust on placement or elimination-wise, depending on what's needed. But a great balance is what we are asking for.
Absolutely. We need sharper rotations. We need to see some exit strategies executed perfectly out there because it's all about survival now. It's not as much as about the numbers. If you are the teams that are towards the top of the leaderboard, right? They know how to find these eliminations. They know how to find their ways around the circle. But it's all about practicing for the booyah. Now, we got to also talk about the teams who are down at the bottom, who are like, yes, booyahs are good, but we also need to find the qualifier into the grand finals because we want that big money. This money is only available if you get into the grand finals, the top 12. The least you walk away with is the $1,000 on the table. Now, worst case scenario, Neptune, if a team does not get a chance to do that, maybe they can sneak away the little bounty that we've got hanging out there for these squads.
Yeah, I mean, comparing the bounty, it's a good addition if you can get as well onto the top 12. So it's like you have the top 12 and then you have the bounty. So, and a lot of teams has been managing to pull that off. Right now, the record goes to DZ of having 2 of those bounties being taken already from the earlier parts of this competition. And I don't think they will be slowing down. They want to chase on that. They have the capacity to do so. It just so happens that in some instances, they don't show that much because halfway through, it's more of a passive gameplay from them. They get all the loots, they get all the position, and once they're ready to go in for the fight, they grab a lot of elimination and even gets those booyah.
Yeah, speaking of booyah again, and it's very hard to avoid the booyah conversation, we have to focus down on Stellar Esports. This is the only team that has made it into this knockout stage without a single booyah to their name, right? So I find that sus. I don't think that this is a team that is incapable of picking up these booyahs. They've been focused on something else, which is finding those eliminations. But I think the rotations that they have been playing out there on the battlefield have just not been the wisest, right? They're getting themselves into these early engagements and you see the exit from the lobby, in unfavorable circumstances way too early. Not the worst team though, because at an average, we still see them getting into that final zone, but they've only been there like, 2 out of, I think, 18 games that they've been in the top 3. So that's something that they need to focus on a tad bit more here at the knockout stage now.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, it's really tough right now. He cannot get into the final circle, but a little recap or just to set the expectation of what's going to happen in knockout stage, double round robin, and we have 3 groups in combination for each day. So you don't have that much of a play day, or you don't have that much of play time as well for the team, and this makes it even difficult because you don't have the momentum that will be going to you compared to the other days that they played.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Point system, as always, you grab that booyah, you walk away with 12 placement points, 9 placement points for that second spot, third spot gets 8, you know the story, all the way down to the 10th spot. You still get placement points, but 11th and 12th gets you absolutely nothing. You can buffer your squad's points up through those eliminations. Every elimination gets you 1 point.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to those eliminations, but for those who want to play it smart, I mean, final circle rotation, we might be seeing a few few of those instances wherein we are on the fourth phase and we still have 10 or 11 teams. I'm not counting everyone in because in most cases then not hot drops will be happening, especially in day number 1. And for all the groupings that we have, 3 sets of groups, this is just day number 1 out of all of them. So there's more chances that a lot of players, a lot of teams will be taken out so much easier because of the rotation that we have in the groupings.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Am I expecting chaos here on the first day of the knockout stage? Maybe. I think there will be some establishing of dominance in certain compounds within these maps, right? But we also do have sufficient information to work with for teams who have done their homework. Problem is, how many teams do their homework, right? Very few. Very few teams do their homework unless they're absolutely serious about their journey here in the world of esports. And Free Fire dominance without the homework, Neptune, becomes a little bit difficult, right? There are certain monsters out there on the battlefield where even if you're really good, if you bump into them, you immediately bring your chances down to 50-50. And 50-50 is just not the kind of odds you want to have out here when you are trying to establish yourself in the run for perhaps even the kings of Free Fire USA.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But speaking of homework, this is the only instance as well wherein some other people, someone else is doing the homework for you will help you that much. Because if you have an analyst, you have a coach right there, you will not be stressed that much of thinking. It's more of executing what they have planned out. So hopefully these teams are starting to get into that trend, like the pros right here, getting in the analysts for themselves so that they can study what's happening not only after the show, but also within the game. So they will have that information relayed before they prepare onto the next game. So it's a little bit tedious, I would say, but it's necessary if you want to go pro.
Absolutely, man. This is the new version of school, right? This is where you come to study. And this new version of school, somebody else does your homework, you benefit, but of course the execution out there, you still got to write in that test, right? You still got to answer all of those questions that are asked on the battlefield. We've got a map schedule coming up for us, Neptune. Let's see exactly where these battles will break down. We're going to start things off at Bermuda, Nextera for game number 2, Solara, Bermuda, Nextera again. So we're going in here because we've got those 2 groups that we talked about. Sorry, the 3 groups that we talked about that we're going to be rotating through. So Bermuda, Nextera, Solara, I think it's going to be straightforward. We're going to see a lot of action. It's just that in the first 3 maps, you do not have that Purgatory. You do not have that Kalahari combination. This is where the snipers really go out on the prowl, getting tons of eliminations, right? These first 3 maps are going to be focused more on the frontliners with those M590s and Mag 7s.
I do agree. And 3 out of 4 games that Group A will be playing, that's the priority that they have. Because, again, for this day, for just one day, we have 3 rotations. That's A and B, A and C, and then B and C. So you did point out a good strategy as well, because Bermuda and Nextera, for groups A and B, they are going in frontliners elimination. And then B would be resting later on match number 3. The momentum would still be shifting towards that frontliner aggression in Solara, and another chance for Group A to bring it back in Bermuda. So 4 matches overall for Group A, wherein they can go all out aggression, but for those who are smart enough, this is, if they anticipate this already, they can pull away from that and just go for a passive approach, find a final circle, and then bring all those eliminations in the latter part of the game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think the team that's the most blessed here is going to be Group C, because they do have that Kalahari on their side, and they also get to mess around on Solara and Bermuda. But different circumstances, different squads doesn't mean that the other teams don't get the opportunity. Obviously, they'll play those maps as well. We've got another day in the knockouts tomorrow where they will probably be dropping into those maps. But as far as the chances of unpredictability, it's all listed here, man. We've got so many games upcoming for us, Neptune, and the combination of groups are just going to keep it very, very exciting.
Well, let's see now. I mean, hopefully they already caught up on some of the tactics for the teams that will be split up in these 3 groups, because we are all set. I think we're all prepared right now to start the battle. Again, we're looking in the OG map. At this point, I am expecting that everyone would be aggressive, because they are familiar at this point. Not everyone, but because I did point it out that some teams can get away from the aggression if they want to go smart. And I'm not saying that not everyone is smart. It's just that they are just smarter. They need a lot more in terms of tactics and not just those mechanical skills.
Absolutely, man. I mean, sometimes you just got a wise guy on your squad, right? Could be your coach, could just be your in-game leader, but somebody's making those short calls out there. It's all about the decision making in these games. One of the biggest reasons why we've seen Caesar so many times in that final circle, right? 18 games played, 10 times in the top 3. Man, they are literally one of the best. Not too far away from them, surprisingly, is actually Ruthless. And Ruthless is so good at pulling in these placement points. They're always finding the circle. You know, we see so many variations of strategies coming out from these squads. And Ruthless is just one of those squads who are not focused on the eliminations. And I feel like that is the sound strategy to really guarantee yourself a spot in the grand finals now.
Well, let's see though, because we are starting it off with the green grass of Free Fire Bermuda, and I'm really looking out for those teams. The Ruthless will not be playing right now, but we do have a few contenders that would be showing us what it takes to go in for this fight. So let's see though, as we set up our knockout stage, we are going to go in for the flight. Correction, Ruthless would be playing right now, so we're expecting them on the final circle, but this time around with a lot of elimination.
You made me panic and look at my notes, man. I was like, wait, what? Really? They're not. What? But there is one team who won't be playing today. As you guys can see, there are only 11 squads that are making the jump here. Mia Corp will be missing this fight. But like you said, it's just really not much of a consequence. Can Mia Corp still get to the grand finals by missing out on a couple of games? Yeah, they are a team of such quality. The money doesn't really matter at this point of time for a team like that, because there's no money on the table if they miss this one game, right? DZ, Vex will find that mini Uzi connection from afar. Medina does trade out Celtic off screen as Zam team will find themselves in a tiny little encounter. DZ up against Nova. On the other hand, Bhima Sakti strip. There is a vending machine here, and it looks like DZ is gonna need it. Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Now DZ just making sure they slow the pace down here. Nova is not backing away from that vending machine. They know they have a big advantage positionally, and also they can't, because INV on the approach from afar. They're flanking around, and looks like DZ is going to be caught out in this situation as well. Yeah. Vex, the distractor for the rest of the DZ squad, will hang back and buy a lot of time for the squad as Alex brings Kelvin right back into play. Ruthless versus Shadow 7 is an encounter that's about to break down as Vegas gets caught out, but the job is done for the DZ Esports player.
See, though, I mean, that's just one player out of DZ Esports. It's just unfortunate, though. They are going against a team that they have been battling over on leaderboard. It's Nova, but it seems like they will need to be a little bit tougher in this fight. Shadow 7, though, a team that we thought is going to bring in a lot of elimination on the group stage. Seems like they are not that strong, but this time around, when it really matters, they're going to bring the fire against Ruthless and Luisito being taken out by Sanchez 7. Didn't expect him to be on that M590, the sniper of the squad, on the CQZ battle.
Oh, Sanchez on fire! Back to back with the eliminations. And this guy, a true flex, a true beast, now tagged up from the back. Good glue wall, backing away. Knows the compound really well. Sneaking his way around. M590 play once again. If he drops, he should be able to find yet another. Luisito, shots from down below. First one not finding the connection. Second one does! But Luisito has backup. It was a 2v1. He almost cracked the code there. In fact, cracked their heads. 3 eliminations it would have been if it wasn't a numbers advantage.
Yeah, I mean, that a small space that he have above the glue wall is what he is aiming for the headshot. But I guess with that jump, it shows that they don't have enough. And speaking of enough, not enough players as well to work with, as Shadow 7 gets eliminated out of this fight. Valiant effort, though, for Sanchez 7. And unfortunately, they doesn't make the cut. Now for DZ, who's going in for a revive on Lucas. They managed to pull that off right now, but will they be able to regroup? Because we're seeing a split out of this team.
Nova on the Devil Revive as well. INV on the Revive. Everybody's hitting those vending machines as they should. And we talked about recovery, Neptune. Only one team has been quite unfortunate in that phase so far. Couldn't bring those revives back before they got annihilated. But as for the rest of them, finding recovery is like bread and butter. And they are hungry. Nova, DZ. Once again, Lucas versus King Goat. Great Riptide rhythm. King Goat exposed, but really positioning to save himself. And Lucas does not aggress on forward, waiting for the backup from the rest of his squad, trying to play this timing right.
Yeah, I don't understand Lucas at this point. Having only a G36 to go for the fight against a Parafoul, at some point you will be taken down because of the massive damage that you can receive, that you can be dealt with on that Parafoul. But now he has a VSS. Vex does have the same weapon on him, and King Gold might have nowhere to go. But that provides a little bit of distraction for one more player of Nova who's going in on a revive. So let's see if this will work. Will King Gold be taken down? And even the jump doesn't hit him that quickly. He did manage to go and knock, but no backup. And DZ still keeps their team alive.
But damn, King Goat, that was a great play. Just knew exactly how to play the angle on the fence to make sure he doesn't get damaged. The jump shot was a thing of perfection. But again, the numbers advantage. QE annihilating Celtic. GG too early. I did not expect Celtic to make that exit, but that's exactly what you're going to find here in the knockout stage, man. Absolute chaos. And QE now with the lightning zone advantage up against Celtic has proven exactly that to us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really getting tougher and tougher for Celtic GG. Most of the time, you go one season lead, the rest of the squad is just following through, and they get a lot of elimination, even Booyahs. But this time around, seems like even Yuko is struggling. So, if that's the only ace that you have in the sleeve as a team, then it would be tough. We've seen that in other regions. We've seen that in one of the top squad in Southeast Asia, which is AG Global, and Yuko needs a lot of those frontliners as well to help him out. Not only to go in for that fight, but also to confirm the knockdowns that he has been dealing with in long range.
Yeah, I think what Hugo needs is a backup sniper on the squad that can perform on par with him, right? Especially on this sniper meta. And you could, even if it's not the sniper meta, you've got so many weapons that are very viable, you know, even before it became a sniper meta. The Winchester on that introduction, the moment that got brought in, like, man, you could just see these rifle players just pulling it out and annihilating players on that mid to long range. And it just changed the face and the pacing of the game. But as we talk about pacing, the pacing of Zam team might shift here. They're out in the open from Mars Electric. Ruthless right behind them. If they get spotted, it's going to be trouble.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ruthless is one of those that is stealthy. And we were talking about that, them finding a final circle. But this is just too early for them to go for aggress. But we know that they have the capability to do so. Another team that is capable and did manage to squeeze themselves into the knockout stage is Crazy Mind. When we thought that they are out, they managed to get in a heartbeat. But now, I think we might not be seeing a lot of heartbeats from Medina if he gets tagged up by Ruthless.
So, okay, what was the strategy here from Zam team? Did they leave Medina back on purpose? Or because this guy, he's not even distracting them. He pulled out the stealth bites to catch up with the rest of the squad. So I guess a little bit of a miscommunication, and just like Kevin, he was left home alone.
It's tough right now. And yeah, I couldn't find the ideation of that strategy right there. Probably keeping the distance because Medina is a sniper of the squad, but you don't have that high ground. You're even in the lower ground compared to the other players in your team. So I'm still questioning that. I'm also questioning that kind of move. But it's a good thing, though, that they managed to survive. Yeah. And probably it's testing the waters. If a team will not be going aggressive, then at least they would know that they can go for a gatekeep later on.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he just got very lucky there, and his team didn't need to waste some extra coins bringing him back because he couldn't keep up. He wasn't in the right spot to flag anyone. But miscoms are quite common. What's important is you don't make that a habit out here in a lobby like this. And because luck doesn't always smile at you, right? Sometimes it smiles at the other squad. Hey, look, a free point.
Well, let's see, though. I mean, it's not about good looks. If you want to attract Lady Luck, It's more of manifesting a few more to your
Oh,
side.
man.
But these Esports rotations on point, heading into northern part of this area. Just make sure that they secure a better spot for them, like this bridge. But Caesar, Carlos 9, take shots on Lucas, heal pistol to make sure that they are fortified for going for the engagement. They back away, but they might be meeting up a different squad.
Yeah, Carlos trolling them from under the bridge. Pun definitely intended. Nova up against DZ. DZ out in the open, but should be able to complete this rotation unless Nova has got a couple of snipes. Answers. Yeah, they do, but they're not doing anything with it. Because DZ is really quick. Putting a distance between themselves and the Nova players. And now this is gonna be that snipe we were looking for. T-Kill getting the point for his side. But DZ getting behind safe cover just in the nick of time to play recovery.
Yeah, and there goes the Outdoors against them. And, well, not only are they hustling because they still have a couple, like close to 2 minutes before that hit list expires on them. They are expecting really a team who will be hunting them down. I think Nova is one of those, it's not one of those who triggered that hit list, but they're taking advantage of them showing up.
Okay, now high ground play here for Vegas. What a shot! Finds the connection onto Van Dijk. Needs to focus fire, but just doesn't have the angles through the windows. Nova, you can see the flank coming on through here. DZ might get caught out. Hayate and Van Dijk pushing from that left-hand side. It's all about the timing here, Neptune. They are in the open, so Nova needs to be really careful. They send the UAV out to scan out the place of DZ. They get that information, but Crazy Mind's about to step in here as the third party. This is about to get really ugly for a squad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, DZ is planning ahead. 3 UAVs in succession that they managed to pull off so that they know exactly where Nova will be coming from. Because they did lose one of the players, so they don't have that much firepower. But Fig Albin and a backstab by King Goat. And this brings Nova and a more advantage against this team of DZ. But here comes Crazy Mind triggering that lightning zone. And this might be trouble for both teams.
Oh, Crazy Minds is absolutely crazy, forcing Nova to get into the house with their lightning zone. Time Turner Chaos. The third parties are in here to wreck some havoc, and it's not one team in trouble, it's 2 squads in trouble. Crazy Minds just wiped the floor with these 2 teams. Nova still has a survivor, all thanks to the Morse. The stealth bites keeping T-Kill active, keeping T-Kill alive. 500 coins in pocket. He'll still need to loot up a little bit before bringing back a buddy.
Crazy Mind definitely is crazy. They step it up on the final day of the group stage, had an opportunity to get into knockout stage because of Knight of Getty bowing out, and now they're taking advantage of that. They don't want to lose out on another chance. They don't want to slow down at the beginning and then catch up and try to clutch it towards the end. They want to get those numbers in as early as this, and I'm really loving the strategy coming from Crazy Minds.
Yeah, man, I was so mad at Crazy Minds. They were so exciting to watch towards the very end. If only they had played like that from the very start. But I guess some lessons are best learned early. And Crazy Minds now on one of their best runs. Let's see if they can complete it with a booyah. 1N team might just be the next contender. But down here at the clock tower, you do have 2 layers within this compound. In fact, even 3 if the circle does permit you a little bit of that higher ground access, but not for long. QE currently abusing that advantage on that high ground, but they'll have to be careful. Zam team right beside them now.
Yeah, that Zam team has been silent all throughout, but they do have a good floor to take. They have a good chance of getting the rooftop as well to take down some of the other teams, but they need to be cautious, as you mentioned. And the team that also needs to be cautious is Caesar, because they have a split against them for our INV. So that's now a 3-1 split, and Palitoso will be left behind as a distraction against Cardinal Sewer, and they might be rushing in the bed. But speaking of rush, here comes Ruthless going for the jump, and one of the players of INB will be taking down Palitoso out unexpectedly.
And we gotta slow the pace down here. Look at the improvement from these squads. 8 still alive on this map as we approach the 14th minute mark. Neptune, we were asking for survival, and these squads are giving us exactly that. You gotta love it, man. But the battle between INB and Zam team, avoided very smartly. And those grenades being laid out here. Glue wall melter response coming through from them right outside. INV, on the other hand, finding themselves a little bit of a compound to play interference. When some team and QE tries to rotate right after this, INV could just be that big threat.
Yeah, INV, a team that is mostly aggressive, but this time around they are being slowed down. Even some team is slowing them down, and they might beat them out as well in a few seconds. Zone will be closing in from the 4th going into the 5th. It would be deadly, especially for those trying to hang out on the edge, but will they be finding a spot? Nova Esports, T-Kill has been eliminated already, and that's one team out of the 8 that we're expecting on the final circle.
Absolutely, T-Hill just couldn't get those coins. We saw he was broke. He couldn't get to those vending machines. His buddies had perished before they could activate those team boosters. Obviously could not last outside the circle. Unfortunate run for them, but that's exactly how the cookie crumbles. Ruthless versus Crazy Mind. It's about to begin. Billy, Winchester, level 3 already. He gets tagged up, has to back away, but he does find Mayota though. That knock and the big grenade coming on through for the follow-up. The rest of the team members have to back away. Zone pressuring them as well. So this is the perfect time push coming through from Ruthless. Turned around by into M590, but Hack, the only player, will not be able to play much as QE spots the battle from across the battlefield and interferes long range, picking up some decent points off of that.
That was some elite sniping coming from QE Elite from far away. And you can see that zoom onto that guy the moment he landed that final shot. It's just a damn taking the high ground. And we were talking about that earlier. QE has that 3rd floor and then have an open access on the rooftop that can take advantage of the position of the other team. Caesar now being shot at by Luisito. And this is a sniper coming from the squad, or one of the sniper coming the squad, who's taking just a little bit of payback from the wrong team. Caesar now goes for a pickup onto Muslim, but that leaves them down with only 2 players.
Absolutely, man. QE now maintaining their high ground advantage that they were holding on to from earlier on. Some team had already chosen for a earlier rotation. Now this will put Caesar in a spot. Decent angle played here by the Caesar player. And QE understanding what they need to do. They toss out that cryo mine. Glue wall melters as well. Ruthless down below. Muslim not going to get picked up in that sequence, and Elite gets the VSK annihilation. The pressure that they're going to play, the advantage still with QE as the circle moves their way. Man, Neptune, talk about Lady Luck smiling at you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they are on point with every rotation, with every shot, and Elite, another one. Not even a glue wall from behind them. This is a team that has been hanging back just next to them, and they might be taken out this quickly. Another headshot, but a reversal has been done by Medina, giving them more time for the pickup.
Oh, Medina's like, take some of this, man. AWM shot. Because if he did not do that, the whole ZAM squad would have been out of the equation already. Here comes Brian with the cord, up close and personal, punishing Erica. INV staying silent, and they pay a big price for that. Lightning zone called out by QE. Out in the open. A smart move coming through from those who already have such a high ground advantage. Armil annihilates 3 players in sequence. 17 eliminations strong. QE for a big booyah, ZAM team. Hello, right up close and personal. Armil on a roll.
On a roll, and Kiskaya will be kissing them goodbye on this first game. GGWP, that's 11 elimination out of this squad right here, and really looking forward to more of that from QE. This is a team who popped off halfway through in the group stage, and now they have that momentum. Similar story that we've seen from Crazy Mind, but that was just a very tactical approach toward that final circle.
Yeah, perfect circle read. We saw where the zone was going to go. And if you are smart enough and if you're early enough, you know which part of the compound you want to take control of. Clock Tower, again, is multi-layered. And it just so happened that that circle had a small little portion of that building. They took control of that. They had the roof. They played that really smart, not over-aggressing, waiting for that perfectly timed circle. As the circle started closing in, they started taking advantage, man. And I mean, brilliant plays. And Armir towards the end with the M590, what kind of a monstrous run. Was that Neptune? I am in disbelief, but this is what we expected. This is what we get. I'm very, very happy after our first game. And to think that we have got a couple of more to go, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the next game. I mean, it will be happening in Nextera. You know how Nextera is. A lot of elimination will be gathered by the team. So there's a good chance for a QE right now to add more to the close to the 20 points that they gathered on that Bermuda. So if this is the case for them, they're all geared up for that Grand Finals champion rush. But I might be looking forward to that a little bit further or a little bit more right now, but let's take a peek on what happened in the game on the replay.
Yeah, absolutely. Shadow 7 earlier, Sanchez 7. We saw the sniper go crazy with the M590. Man, if you have not managed to master this shotgun just yet, you are in a huge disadvantage out there. Even if you're the sniper, right? We even saw King Goat, one of the M590 specialists out there, get overwhelmed in that sequence of battle as well. So many things were happening back to back. But what was most important was what the team of DZ showed us. These rotations are very important. And if you're not avoiding the other squads, just like how QE was doing, your survival in a lobby like this is going to be very difficult then.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, we were talking about in the early parts of last year, where in some teams' strategy right now is be silent in the beginning, and then towards mid to the latter part, that's where you get all those elimination, because you have plenty of chances. And from how things are right now, a lot of teams has been surviving even halfway through our phases of the circle. So there's plenty of chances of those elimination happening if you have a great sniper like Elite in your squad. And this is what the QE has been studying, I guess, coming from the other regions, or just coming from all the pros that we have in the mix of Free Fire competitive scene, and we are seeing that shadow out of this team.
Yeah, there was also a good highlight there off of Medina from Zam team, where Elite was punishing their players one after the other. And Medina, it's all about understanding mechanics of the game, right? Just put himself in a tight little corner where he's not going to be spotted by Elite, to find that counter, allowing Zam team just a few more extra moments in that final circle, which obviously gets you some extra points. 11 eliminations from Elite. The elite sniper of this lobby for sure, with the AWM, had the Moss and a full-on sniper build. Mokomaro, Raphael, just to play that disaster bringer. 4.6k on the damage. Man, he had a very good game now.
I do agree. I mean, if you're going to find the team and you identify their movements based on what QE has shown right here, just take a look on the very high ground. You might see Elite out there. But for Almir, he managed to get in close to half of what Elite has managed to pull off. Together with Pianito in the head-to-head, it seems like they're equalized on elimination, but you can see the damage is more towards Almir. So QE is still on point, even in the other players and not just the MVP.
Yeah, of course, Almir, even though the eliminations equal each other out, but those damage, in that final circle, he was just whacking everyone with those shots. And 19 out of 78 eliminations go the way of QE. That's a 31-point bomber for our opener here at the knockout stage from QE now.
Yeah, I do agree. And imagine 19 points, 11 of which will be gathered by Elite, 5 of which is going into Almir. So that leaves not enough for the rest of the squad. It just shows that we have a few aggressives right here, but it's the CQC and that long-range combination that they have into play right now. You have those two crucial focus on two roles, then you will be two roles performing quite well. You might be seeing games just like this, not only coming from QE, but the other squad who can identify those roles quickly.
Absolutely. In the past, we used to have a very big focus on just one particular role, right? The game is just balanced in a way where it's just prioritizing these individual roles so much more. I don't see the bombers in action that much. Yes, of course, we've seen the snipers in action. We've talked about this being the sniper meta. USA needs to level up step by step, right? And I think they've given us what we've asked for. They've given us those, amazing snipes. They've given us those phenomenal M590 plays. Now we need to see some grenades out there, man. This is literally the next level, and I want to see it here in the knockout stage before we head on into the grand finals.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, M79, grenades, there's a lot that can be used right now. Though we have a few bombers, you can see that on the pet skills that they're bringing in. Once you see a Beaston, definitely it's a bomber on them, an Alvaro on the passive skill, and even an A124. And that combination of Beaston, Alvaro, A124 is more of a deadly combination out of squad, especially when A124 is back in play. They see the capability on that final circle with that active skill, but I want to see just the elimination out of the grenades. Just one squad or one player out of the team who knows his role that well, but that also needs that he has a backup of one support as well as one frontliner, so he can cook those nades in a perfect timing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just like some well-timed half-boiled eggs, man. You gotta get it right. It's an art, right? QE, beautiful stuff here on the overall standings. Like you said, they snatch away most of the points. Ruthless, Zam Team, Crazy Minds, Caesar, not too far away from each other. I think I have to throw Nova and INV in there as well, because, I mean, what's 5 points for INV to catch up with? This is just that kind of team that has got the quality to climb. But the problem here is, Neptune, is the fact that I expected INV to do some things out there in the lobby that I was very disappointed to not see them do. If any team could have really, nerfed QE, it was INV, but they just chose to not stick their noses into the business of others. They wanted to stay silent, and they got punished for it. They barely got any eliminations because of that passive approach.
Yeah, I guess what happened for INV is one of the players, I think it's Willow, who got eliminated so many instances that they had to split up on rotation. And with that split up, one player did manage to use a vehicle to regroup with the rest of the squad, and I think it was Palitozo who was taken down because of Ruthless rushing in against him. So it's really getting tough in terms of positioning-wise for INV. But aggression definitely is on point if they try to aggress. So let's see, though, if this is a chance for them to do so. Because looking into Nextera, not only is DZ leading the fray right now, as well as Caesar, INV is far down the bottom when it comes to placement, but does pull up a fight when it comes to elimination.
Absolutely, man. So this is a perfect map to continue the conversation on those grenades, Neptune, because Nextera has got so many of these defensive compounds, and it's very difficult to flush squads out unless you've got a pocket full of grenades and a grenadier who knows how to toss them out, right? Perfectly cooked grenades equals massive numbers of eliminations. And of course, if you also have the great M590s working perfectly on your squad, it's gonna be hella fun. Ruthless up against Zam Team very early on. Valiant Dash, Brian played that perfectly. Gets right behind the player. Pretty dropped as well. Brian on fire. Valiant Dash on the opposite side. But Zam Team putting a wrap onto this battle. Ruthless stood no chance up against them in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, Zam Team or Ruthless has met a more ruthless team in name of Zam Team. Now, let's see if they will be able to recover in that fight. Crazy Minds, though, after losing out battle earlier, they were in a good position, but unfortunately, they didn't last that long. But it's still early. They do have a vending machine in museum, and I think they can gather enough coins as they cleared out most of Caesar's player, and Carlos 9 have little no chance to be picked up. One player, though, is stuck in another corner, and this might be the disruptor of the squad. It's Muslim from long range.
Absolutely. I saw Muslim just running across the battlefield, but there's another battle here. It's Celtic versus QE. The action just does not stop here in the USA. Valiant Dash just to reposition, and that does not give him a big advantage at all. Crazy with the Mag 7 will be able to fight or not. QE with their first elimination here, and Celtic backing away. They're putting Hugo in a great spot here. Hugo could be the difference maker now.
Oh, let's see now. Hugo needs to move up. He gets that shot against opponent, against Almir 24. This might be an opening for them, but no. They still manage to recover. They are a full squad and almost full health. And Celtic JG is being isolated one by one.
Yeah, Hugo, you cannot miss those headshots. And Celtic will lose more players here. But Hugo's far away enough. He can exit this fight if he wants to. He got the final one left standing on the side of Nova. Good glue wall. But there is a little bit of a hole here. And Biblix could not flank around in time with the VSS. One more glue wall needed. King Goat manages to pick up. Here comes the grenade that we talked about. Hayate down on the ground. Biblico. Just with biblical plays as usual. And the God of Death The God of Doom going in for the finisher. King Gold caught out all alone. This might just be the end of Nova. That's about it, man. I mean, this survivor is going to be outnumbered either way, Nep.
Yeah, definitely. And there you have it. It's Biblic who managed to land a final shot on a close quarter encounter with a VSS. But that God name, that we just asked about that. And he is paying here. Now, Mia Corp, they did lose out on the first game. They have a lot of points that they need to catch up on, especially if we're talking of comparison with QE. But I think Mia Corp right now is aggressive. They've studied, if they were watching, they studied a few of the players that really dealt a lot of those fights, and they are now having a plan of taking the same strategy as QE had and putting against everyone they meet. And Zam Team would be another of those who will try to survive against Mia Corp.
Mia Corp just giving everybody else a leg up by missing that first match. But they will not give them any face whatsoever this time round. Zamti meeting their makers in Mia. Medina, Kar98 in hand. Kane is out of there. Zamti about to lose yet another player here. But it doesn't matter because Kane should be able to bring the full squad back. Medina gets away with the stealth fights. Great escape plan from Zamti.
Let's see. I mean, that's a good insurance policy for them to keep in fights like this. We still have 11 teams remaining at this point. And Zone will be closing in from first to the second phases circle. But Mia Corp, let's see if their aggression would still be on point, because this is a team who lose out on the battle earlier and want to get it back. Next right now, going against two, and Erica from a long range with that M590. I don't know if you can pull it off, but if you are accurate enough to take a headshot with that shotgun, you can go in for a quick knock just like that.
Absolutely. And INV, I guess these players all heard us, man. We asked for the grenades, they gave us the grenades. We asked for INV to wake up, show us a little bit of sharper aggression here on those eliminations, and they say, ask no more, say no more. One scanned out by the Dinoculus, the second one just entered the fray as well. Palita also down on the ground, but easy pickup here for INV as they clear out Decker Square.
I mean, it's good. It's good that we are being heard. It's most instances like they're just listening. To be listened at, because most instances they are just hearing and not really listening to what we're saying. But now the teams are smarting up. And Lucas Vex steals that away. Vex might be getting a little bit of hate from Lucas, but they're coming from the same team, so if they can get eliminations on, it's all good in the hoods. But Lucas will try to go for another one. Spots Erica up close and personal with a VSK, but unfortunately didn't get that knock instantly.
Man, what a big mistake that was. But Erica's gonna get caught out here as Vegas stops by, says hello. Even if he had failed, the Bison would have come firing in from the back as well. So DZ, great attempt here. And Decker Square was just taken over by INV, but they just snuffed them out with that advantage. And it was all about the positioning, right? Vegas right on top of that scaffolding roof had the perfect vantage point to punish them.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas was like, okay, Lucas, you can take this one. But he dealt it on a CQC. And Vegas just says, all right, you couldn't land those shots. I'm going to steal it away again from you. So it's an infighting. That's a good infighting, though, because they're landing all those eliminations. Hugo is back in play. Distance from the rest of the squad, though, but still on point on rotation as well as those shots.
Celtic looking for the better plays, and Hugo, we asked more from him, and he's the only one that has delivered in terms of the eliminations for the squad so far. Now, they should be able to hang around the area for a couple of minutes, but DZ wanting to mess around with this squad as well. DZ versus Celtic, perfect positioning. Vegas will have that information on their side. Cryo Mine sent out, does manage to find the tag onto Lautas, and Vegas is rushing straight in, but Time Turner pulled out here by Celtic to make sure they don't get annihilated easy. Johan, big advantage, drops the glue ball as well, but that also gives the advantage for Vegas to get picked right back up, and the flank comes on through. Alex with the M590 looking for one more, but the players on the side of Celtic will sneak away from this one and drop right back. Hugo with the shots, found the perfect angle with the AWM. Celtic only has the prime sniper left here as the front line fails.
Oh, let's see now. Will he be able to survive? Unfortunately, Celtic bows out early once again. And I thought that Celtic has a good plan in play because earlier we have Johanna's distraction, and we're seeing that that basic therapy connection with that Cassie on someone behind DZ, but they didn't go into the perfect timing for that pinch, and it was just DZ who's knocking them out in the CQC. So let's see. I think it's just a timing and not just a plan that needs to be executed well for Celtic TG. But Caesar managed to go in for survivability, but they are left out on taking down INV.
That was one of the best saves I've seen so far in the USA. With the heel gun, got to him just in time before his player expired. They did it because having to revive from that spot would have been very irritating. They've got a great position to hold on to right now, and I don't think Caesar wanted to let that go. But they'll have to deal with the lightning zone and the direct hits because they are right out in the open. But INV doesn't take advantage of that lightning zone with the suppressive fire at all, and Caesar is allowed to survive. What a play from the squad.
Yeah, I mean, I really love this play from Caesar wherein everyone group up for that pickup because it's not only the heel gun. If in case INV decided to use the launch pad against them, then they might have been taken down already. So that's two things that they have in mind that they're trying to avoid in this fight. By INV, they might be meeting up another team, which is Miyakor, but as we see a few teams being revived, it's Caesar capitalizing on their position right now.
4 eliminations, and they got to step it up. Muslim making that 5. 10 squads alive. Make that 9 as Zamti makes that early exit. Unfortunate. They did manage to climb close to the top earlier on. But this is going to be the tad bit of a hiccup they have to deal with in the third game. But we all know they are no strangers to finding that recovery. Great team. Elite finding the shot. Oh, man. Finding a double. Working the AWM. Working the VSK. And one NT. Finding it difficult to deal with this monster. Brian, though, with the response. Crazy knockdown. Almir with the save. And Elite punishes. The follow-up from this Prime Sniper is just such a delight to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the moment that he hears the shot, he recovers and go in for the flank and just backstab the hell out of players from INT. Andre, though, thanks Almir 24 down, able to go for the catch. Unfortunately, didn't make it, but Elite might be taken down as well by Andre. He does have that elevation, and Elite doesn't have that much of a cover.
Elite, can he pull off a prime snipe here? Laying out the glue wall, melt his first. Count tagged up! Elite, you monster! VSK in hand, quickly repositioning, looking for the angle onto Andre as well. Stealth bites activated, gets into position, count on the rotation as well. Close enough to spot him. Elite has to be careful here. Mactan will not get the job done, and Elite, a monstrous play! Annihilating one NT with that move. 5 eliminations for the Prime Sniper.
Last time we saw moves like that was the previous season when we have Lucas High deals with the long range, deals in the CQC. It doesn't phase him that much, and we have an elite sniper in the squad right now, and a lot of teams will need to be careful. But speaking of being careful, it's Caesar who's trying to be careful, trying to survive because they're losing out on this fight, and they don't have a lightning zone. It's just DC firing at them.
Muslim actually left his buddies with the monster truck. I wonder what the plan was here for Caesar, because I don't think Muslim can get the revivals on the rest of his team members. They should have actually exited the bridge with 2 players. One guy already got sprayed down. Very interesting strategy of Caesar. I think that could have just been a panic move, and now they've got nowhere to go. Muslim not too far away from the vending machine though, but a late revival needs to be timed perfectly with the Chaos Neptune so that the rest of his team members stands a chance.
I do agree. This close of circle from 3rd to 4th is the best timing because once a few seconds happen after the close, everyone will start to move, especially if it's a huge shift on the circle. So let's see if that is what Caesar will be using at this point, or do they have coins to revive their teammates, because that would be tough for them. But on the other side, it's Ruthless dealing with the lead, and they've lost a couple of players already. Even Lil Fleeful Kita will be taken down, but here comes the rest of the squad trying to deal with a couple of players from QE. And Crazy going crazy with a back 7 and manage to pull off a knock, but it doesn't last for long because the pickup has been done onto Ruthless side.
Man, that was a lack of follow-up. The team was split up in that particular circumstance, and QE will not be able to recover from this. The vending machine too far away, and the numbers stacked against them. Ruthless will be able to ruthlessly extradite QE out of this lobby. And Muslim, on the other hand, had to deal with Shadow 7 camping on that vending machine. Could not get to that save, and no revives come through for the squad. They are taken out. QE dropped as well as Ruthless catches up with them. The tides are turning here, Neptune.
Yeah, no back-to-back booyah, but this is a good chance for Crazy Mind to deal with DZ. But it's just unfortunate. DZ still managed to survive, and the pickup can be done. Crazy Mind is down, or almost down and out. There goes a final blow onto Myota. It's INV who dealt that, but they're just down below. DZ will have to wait. They need that monster truck if they want to jump, but I don't think they have to move that much because the next phase of the circle is just on top of them.
And INV called for that lightning zone. Perfect play and advantage up against DZ, but Palitoso sprayed down. Recovery coming on through INV, and thankfully there's just no angles to punish them just yet. Ruthless, on the other hand, just continuously picking up those numbers. Coyote with a late game revival as well. Big play from the Ruthless player, but they need to make sure their own team members don't get sprayed out of the air, and the best way to do that is to shoot anyone who's on that high ground.
Let's see the Wolf being spotted into the corner. I'm quite sure what he's doing, but he could have seen Ruthless already. He did manage to pull away, but Palitoso is dealing with the players off Ruthless, and this is a good distraction, so that Wolf will be saved. But unfortunate for him, he will be eliminated. Another player from Shadow 7 will still manage to survive, and favoring the shift of the circle, the same goes with Miacorp.
Absolutely, man. Vegas now. Advantage up against Mia with the Car 98. Oh, beautiful connection onto Drytex. Nix is going to be shot as well. Low, looking to take advantage as he flanks around with the rest of his team members. The angles played on Mia could end their run here, but right behind them is going to be DZ and Shadow 7. DZ looking for that rotation off of that bridge. Shadow 7 might get caught out here in midst rotation because I don't think they've got the numbers to make their way through.
I mean, it's getting tough right now. Let's see if they will be able to survive a little bit longer just for those points. 5 teams remain right now, and it's Miacorp who's trying to deal with everyone on the ground. DZ will be losing out on their position from above, and Ruthless on a final revival spree. I don't know where they're going to drop right now, but at least they have the numbers.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, and they're dropping in towards that the newer part of that zone, so this is a big advantage for them. Rafe is going to get taken out of the equation, so no more revives going to be coming through for the squad. Miacorp looking for players. On the other hand, DZ will fish some points out of the skies. They get Ruthless out of the lobby. 4 more teams left in here. It's a slow burn on this lobby, Neptune, because of the tactical maneuvers coming through from the squads to survive the final circle. But Sanchez 7 with the VSK annihilating Erica, which downs the chances of the squad up close and personal.
Yeah, if it wasn't for DZ, who rotated in this area, Sanchez 7 can still put in a lot of elimination in there. This final survivor of Shadow 7. But INV Chrono will be taken out, and it's because of Miacorp on the low ground. And it is 2 teams battling against INV to eliminate them. Only 2 remains for INV, and Vex has a good chance of shutting low down. And there you have it, a 1v3v4 situation, and Miacorp might be taking this booyah in recovery from game number 1.
Yeah, can DZ turn their fate around though? If they play their timing well, Miacorp will take the final player out. It's a disadvantage with the numbers for DZ. But if they can find their first man here, that would be a big gift. Calvin with the connection onto Drytex earlier on. Here comes the push from their players as well. Vegas, big risky play, but he does have that boosted up glue walls already for the defense. No grenades. Fighting the connection as I say that. Calvin with the M79. The grenades coming out for the play, and this gives them a slight advantage. Vegas, a sliver of health though, about to get knocked down. They get into the time turner. The pickup is possible. Recovery here for DZ. Josh Red Mag 7 tries to end it, but he gets sprayed down. Vegas taken out of the equation, and DZ looking for a miraculous booyah here.
Oh, let's see though. We still have Alex that will be survivor, but not for long. Nix must pick up. Nix goes in for a fight, and Miyako gets the booyah after not really playing on the first game, and now this is recovery from the EWC qualified team.
Holy hell. What a lobby. What a game. What a step up in quality. Neptune, we just talked about those grenades, and that grenade could have been the difference maker in that final battle, but I think both squads played it perfectly, right? Every single utility that could have been used in that battle was used. We saw those glue walls come out in this perfect timing to protect themselves, to get a little bit of an advantage, to cut down the distance. We saw the time turner come out to save their lives, and we saw the decision making to take advantage, run straight into the time turner, get into a CQC and fight it off. It was a slugfest in the second game, and like you said, Mia, from missing the first game to just grabbing that booyah the moment they step back in here, shows us that, yeah, we might just have a solid representatives here for USA at EWC.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, even in a 3v4 situation, they still are in good position. Their snipers is in a good position. The back line, the front liner is not really aggressive that much. They found a little bit of cover after eliminating one player from INV, and then they slowed it down. They slowed the pace down, not giving an opportunity for DZ, who has a high ground advantage against them. So it's just those decision making that is making them a good chance, or making them show a good chance of really doing a lot on EWC.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a great run for INV as well. They tried to get deep into the zone. In the initial phases of the game, they were fighting those eliminations, but up until DZ happened to them, right? They just ran their site, and of course, if INV had it rough, Celtic had it even rougher. Hugo, I thought that he was going to be the playmaker in the situation, but he got taken out of the equation way too quickly because he wanted to force that revival coming on through. I think he could have just clutched that situation out by eliminating two of those players from the equation instead of going in for the revival. I think Celtic could have potentially survived, because once you take away two players, your opponents have to back away and play a little safer.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, it's the same thing that happened to, I believe it's Crazy Mind, when they're trying to take advantage of the position against DZ or Ruthless. Once one of their teammates is on the ground, and we're seeing the priority or the prioritization on going for the pickup. And that's one thing that might disrupt the flow of your opponents if you are losing on those gunfights. But well, we'll see if that is something that can make adjustment later on, but not so much though for Group B, because they will be sitting down for a couple of games before they get reintroduced on game or match 5 and 6.
But DZ had a phenomenal run through eliminations, Neptune. 20 plus eliminations, got to that final circle to look for that booyah as well. Yes, they got robbed by Mia, who played a very good final circle. Yes, Mia was not as good as DZ when it came to the elimination game, because DZ was just ramping it up from the very start of the lobby. But this is just two squads getting down and dirty in that final circle to prove to us that it's not going to be a walk in the park, right? And this guy, he is the miracle worker for Mia Corp. We saw the grenades open the fight for Mia at the very start of this lobby, and with his Morse, he is just absolutely deadly in the current meta. 4 eliminations, 3 headshots, 5 assists, and 3,500 damage for those numbers is just insane, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Biblix is, or previously known as Biblico, is showing us that with that experience, he can bring in the fire in this fight. It's not only Biblix who's brought in the numbers. We also have Nyx 27 right here with 5 elimination, but not so much off damage, but going against Elite, still on the board despite of not getting that booyah, not even surviving towards the final circle. This really shows that QE is in a good run right now. But the only question though is, did they put enough to stay in the top of the board?
I think they definitely put enough to stay on the top of the board, Neptune. Looking at how many eliminations DZ raked in that lobby. First of all, overall, it is a phenomenal lobby. Tons of eliminations. Massive revives came on through earlier on to give us numbers like these. More than double of what we started with. And 22 of those lives harvested just by DZ. And this tells us that other teams did manage to have a fantastic run collecting points within this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really loving that Nextera is still the place where all those elimination comes in, gives more opportunity for the teams to catch up. And again, DZ Esports has managed to pull that off because of numbers, not only with the Booyah, but also the number of eliminations that they have. That's 22 out of them, closing the gap between them and QE. Only 7 in difference between the two squads. So it's easy enough for DC to take the #1 spot once again because QE doesn't have that much momentum that's working on them. They do have great position, but if the change of pace happen onto the next map, then they might still not be getting that much of point because they will still be playing 2 more matches.
Absolutely, man. But that's DZ. Crazy Minds had a crazy run so far, if you ask me, from almost not finding the qualifier into the knockout stage because they woke up too late. You know, sometimes if you wake up a little too late, your mother still, if you're Asian, slaps you and sends you to school. These guys, you know, they woke up too late. They couldn't even go to school. The gates were all shut already. But in this particular case, they got blessed by some luck. And they're in here and they're not missing out, man. 2 games in, 34 points in the 3rd spot. Crazy Minds definitely deserve some praise.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Crazy Minds. And again, we're always referring to those kids in school right now. If you are lost in attendance, if you can catch up after the exam, similar to what we're seeing in Mia Corp, you will still bring yourself up on the board, and they are halfway through. They still have a few more games, a couple of more games to study their opponents and then reintroduce onto match 5 and 6. So Mia Corp is part of Group B. So it's only 1 chance for them for now, but more chance of them to identifying how the other teams will be playing it out onto the next 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Group B will be coming back for games 5 and 6. That's Nextera and Kalahari. And obviously, I think Biblico is going to be very happy about that. Kalahari is going to be his home once again. QE so far doing well in the competition, Neptune. And like you said, they will continue playing, right? 4 games in a row is a big advantage for a team that's already steamrolling these players out there on the battlefield. This is that recovery game for QE. And you got to be impressed with what they've been able to do, man. Because with this phenomenal run, you know, earlier I did say that, they'll be able to maintain their spot, but I think DZ is definitely going to be given a run for their money after the lobby for sure.
Let's see. Let's see. I mean, it's just back and forth between these 2 teams, and then we are going to introduce a new set of team into next game. So there's just a lot of distraction that might be happening, probably on the early drop as well. We didn't expect much to happen earlier in Bermuda, but they still deal with a lot of elimination. But now we have some of the hungrier squads studying what Group A has been doing, and we're going to switch it up in Solara, wherein there's a lot of compounds to start with, wreaking all those havoc.
Yeah, and teams that are perfect for a little bit of havoc. You've got ZMF, you've got Zeus, you've got Stella, you've got GCT, Arrow, Flash, O1 Esports. This knockout stage is stacked, man. I don't know. I feel bad for some of these squads out there who are in battle up against these other teams who are just deadly. Even if Celtic is getting steamrolled out there, you understand what kind of situation this is, because Celtic's a really good squad, right? Hugo's a phenomenal sniper. They're just unable to wake up their momentum today because of how heavy the lobby is, Neptune.
I do agree. I mean, it is now going to be tough right now because we have Zeus Esports, and then we will have a GCT Arrow. Even Nova, who has been pushed down the bottom leaderboard, might not be able to catch up because of this combination of team. And there's no pulling away from that. For every day, you will be meeting up 2 sets of groups, and if the disappointment hit you in the early parts, it will continue on if you carry that burden towards the end.
Absolutely. Now, I think Group A is going to face a little bit of a steeper issue, right? Because the Group C combo is just filled with deadly hunters out there on the battlefield. So whatever points that Group A has taken so far, I think they need to be mindful that the jig is up, right? They might not be able to be as dominant. If any squad from the side of Group A still does manage to play their consistency and dominance with the numbers, Neptune, I will actually be very impressed because, again, Group C is filled with crazy squads.
Yeah, I mean, we have Crazy Mind in Group A, and then we have Group C who are crazy as well. That's 7 in contention already. So this is really, really getting tough right now. But hopefully, I'm looking forward to Stellar Esports to really bring in one Booyah just to start off their play, because they didn't get a Booyah from the group stage, and they might be far away of getting used to the final circle if they continue the same run that they had on group stage. So this is just a good showing, good start for the team to find a final circle. Just do it the same way as QE that has done in Bermuda. Just be passive from the beginning, but still deal with aggression on long range with the snipers. And I believe they have, if not one, a couple of snipers that can be used out of this fight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's good to see MiaCorp sitting somewhere in the middle of the leaderboard, even after missing one game, right?
Yep.
We were a little concerned, like, okay, all right, what's going on? They're not going to show up the full day, but thankfully they were able to sort out their players and hop on into the lobby for the second matchup to show us exactly what they've got. But of course, they'll have to wait now and rest. Probably some miscommunication. They thought they were going to start a little bit later or something, but they will have the other two games, Nextera and Kalahari, where we can see MiaCorp once again go out and do their thing. But it's not just MiaCorp, right? Because in Group B, you had many teams who unfortunately did not see a lot of points. Shadow 7 didn't see a lot of points. Cartel Sir didn't see a lot of eliminations as well, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, it's just surprising that Cartel Sur is slowed down right now when we thought that they can bring themselves up. But similar to the story that they have in group stage, the first week was just a slow pace for Cartel Sur. They catch up in the second week. But right now on the knockout stage, we're not talking about weeks, we're talking about days. And if you lose out on one day, and you might lose out all throughout the KO stage, so making it difficult for them to even get into grand finals. Though they have the DNA, that winning DNA already, hopefully they don't bleed out this early into the KO stage.
Absolutely, you don't lose. I mean, you do lose some DNA, but it's not like you can't, make up new cells, right? It's just a little bit of blood. We can bleed. We've got med kids out there, right? It's all about the recovery. You can make a couple of mistakes out here, hence why teams have got a decent number of matches to play before we look for the top 12 to send into the grand finals. But they don't have a lot of opportunities, Neptune, so they have to be very mindful of each and every single chance they get out there. These 6 games are very, very precious, my friend.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, 6 games out of these matches, and it's only like 4 match within a day. So 4 games for one specific team is really important, and hopefully they set that into perspective, similar to what we're seeing in Crazy Mind right now after a very difficult run in the group stage. Now they're starting it off quite hot. They are in the top 3, and this is just what we want to see, even in grand finals. Even with a few more number of games within the day on the grand finals, they just want to start it off early with those points, whether it's elimination points or placement or a balance of both. You will need to bring that in. It's just an adjustment that you will need to make based on the situation that you are put into in these matches.
Absolutely, man. Now, we do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We have got a couple of players who have not sorted their lobby issues out just yet. We're waiting for them to hop on in. So we're going to give them a little bit of extra time before we start this next game. We want to give these teams as much of an opportunity that they deserve. But of course, sometimes if teams are late, we'll have to leave them out. But we're gonna cover 2 eyes for the time being first, right? Let's talk a little bit about what we can expect out of Group C, Neptune. We've got Zeus Esports there, and these guys are monsters. I honestly thought that it was going to be Zeus Esports that goes to EWC. Unfortunately, Champion Rush doesn't work like that.
I do agree. I mean, if you don't get that Booyah after achieving championship condition, you will be losing out on a lot. And I don't know, probably they went a little bit too aggressive and overconfident as well, not expecting that Neocorp can pull the rug just below them. But Zeus can bring in the numbers. I mean, ending third on the group stage with 300 points in total is not an easy feat, and really something that we would expect for some of the team. But we might be seeing a few more teams stepping away from this battle. There are a few issues, as you did mention, for teams out here, and as much as we want everyone to play, there's some situation wherein they will be missing out on that. It's not just on the numbers, but also on the tech side.
Yeah, if it was with us, if it was with production, we'll definitely wait all day for these squads. But we know you guys do not want to wait all day. We know you want the game. So we're going to be starting this lobby. Unfortunately, Neptune, ZMF, as well as Zeus Esports will probably miss this game since they can't make this to the lobby. And I was just talking about Zeus, right? So it's a tad bit unfortunate. But just like Neocorp, I don't think it's going to be very difficult for them to catch up, even though they miss out on one game. So fingers crossed they do have this sorted before we head on into the next match. I would definitely love to start the game now. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, Rod is saying that we can wait all day, but I don't think we have that much. we don't have that much time at this point. We don't have much to talk about as well if we go for a full day.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We just don't have that much patience, man. We started off the day high octane, lots of energy, and now we gotta just wait. And waiting makes me sleepy.
Well, it's a good thing that the teams are slowly building the action right now into the moment that the flights start. So we won't feel that lethargic in these games. But going back to some of the points, I think we still have a few more talking points when it comes to these groups, especially for those in Group C. Again, we already mentioned Celtic, Stellar Esports that is trying to catch up in most of this fight, but the only question though is, can they bring it on? Because it seems like it's not that easy for the teams, especially with the groupings that we have carried over from Group A.
Yeah, and this is why patience pays, because the two teams that we said are not going to be attending, not going to be participating, are back in the lobby. So we might just start off with 12 teams here if everything goes well. We're going to give them one final check before we kick this next game off. Neptune, it's going to be Solara, it's going to be chaotic. You've got those slide rails which allow the movements from compound into compound to be fairly easy if teams do want to take that risk. It's not as risky as playing on the zip line. It's faster, it allows you those glue walls for the defense, but getting those launches, getting those jump pads would be a little bit more comfortable in my strategy book. It depends on how these squads want to play, because we've seen a lot of those slide wheel domination so far in Free Fire USA.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be quick, slide rails, that is what you're going to use. If you want to be patient, then you can use a launch pad. But I do agree with you. It's not only in the hospitals that patience pays, it's also in this kind of game. So let's see if in Solara, we're going to see those patient play, those trigger discipline, so that they can have that advantage. This is game number 3, and I didn't expect it to go this fast.
I swear, when you said hospitals and then you were going to say in Solara, I thought you were going to say insulin. So I don't even know why. I've been watching way too many weight loss videos. Insulin's just stuck in my head. Well, as long as it's not stuck in my body. Making me retain all the stuff I don't want to keep. Man, we're heading into this map. It's going to be Solara. 12 teams, 48 players. That's exactly what we wanted. So thank you very much, production, for giving them a little bit of extra leeway. But as we head on here, Zeus Esports has got a brand new logo.
Oh yeah, I mean, they are moving up in the ranks, and hopefully they will be taking the #1 spot right now. Definitely a Zeus in my book. But the flight path, for those of you who don't know, it's coming from Echo Drain heading into Riders Club, and Echo Drain is one of those spots that we see has a couple of teams that would be going against each other. Delta Isle will have Zeus Esports and QE, but going back to Echo Drain, let's see if Zam Team will be drained out of this fight, as a Crazy Minds is trying to recover fast, but unfortunately it's Hack who goes down first, and on the other side it's QE against Zeus, and Curl and Shake couldn't shake it anymore.
That was a thing of beauty. a time turner in a cryo mine, a dome in a dome. But putting my childishness aside, QE versus Zeus, a battle that might just go 50-50 here. Zeus pulling away 2 lives, but the knockdown onto the second player might not end in a elimination. Gaviota punishing Almir. Elite taking out a player from the side of Zeus. Elite now shoved down to the ground. Back and forth we go between the two. Pulgita looking for one back, and he will find that. I mean, they are well matched so far, Curtin Shake. Oh, but this is 2v1. But it's still a 1v1 because the revive was the main focus first. And Pulgita gets shut down either way by King and the mini Uzi as he rotates around, flanks him. That backstab perfect, and now it's all up to Crazy to bring QE back in.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the knuckler right there. I don't know if it has been spotted by the players of QE, but he backs away, tried to grab a few coins on his return, and now he might be able to get at least one of the players on 400 coins. But going back to this Echo Drain right now, Zam team, after going against Crazy Minds, now they have to deal with DZ Esports. It's not getting easy for Zam team right now, but they do have 4 eliminations already, but they might be taken out a little bit early in this fight if they don't split up.
Oh man, DZ, how do they recover? They don't have as many placement points as I expected them to have, but Zam team is in a little bit of a pickle. Medina, stealth bites worn off already. Vegas, the whole squad chasing him, but this is the distraction strategy from Zam team. Medina just pulling away their attention as Young King attempts those revives. Let's see if or not we'll see Zam team make their way back in.
Oh, well, ZT is on top of the board. Only 1 remains for elimination already, but that's not a position that you want to take. On the other side, we have Flash going against Zeus Esports. Zam team trying to go for a revival onto Studios, and the dream is still alive for this team. But going into Zeus Esports, we were expecting that they will be winning out that fight earlier against QE. QE managed to pull away. Now Flash is trying to knock on their doors. Not only that, we have Ruthless, who's moving close behind.
Yeah, man, Flash tagging out, Ruthless tagging in, Zeus still staying here. They've got the vending machine, they've got full control of Delta Isle, and they know even QE could not touch them. No one can touch them. Of course, they don't know it was QE, but I'm just saying, you know, figure of speech kind of thing. King, Drogon, fighting Coyote, Time Turner pulled out already. Early investment from the side of Ruthless on the Time Turner. Not gonna fare the squad well. Pilly going in for the shutdown, but Gaviota punishes with the double. The Drogon just annihilating player after player on the side of Ruthless. In fact, it's Zeus that is Ruthless.
Oh yeah, Zeus is Ruthless right now, and speaking of not touching it, Ruthless seems like they won't be able to touch any survivability. But on the other side, Flash being taken out by QE, so those who step into Delta Isles are digging against each other. Zeus Esports tries to end it right here for Luisito, and I guess Zeus Esports is going hammer time right now. Can't touch this.
I was just thinking of another song. Luisito.
I didn't know what other words follows that, but I know the beat.
I don't know the words too, man. Right for stealth bites, looking for the reposition. But it's gonna get knocked down by the vehicle. Mayo, VSK. He tried. Grand Theft Auto, that's not working out. VSK finding the end of the player and the squad.
Well, unfortunately for Ruthless being taken down, this is one of the team who managed to get on the final circle quite a lot, but they're not being given that opportunity right now. We have 10 teams remaining in this fight. Young King being spotted after paying him back of the takedown on Lucas. Not quite sure if Lucas can be picked up, but Beggs on the chase, and there goes X-Kane being taken down. Now Medina tries to go in for a shot, but from downtown it's 0-1 Esports trying to dip their fingers into this battle, and even DZ is bowing out.
Yeah, they're trying to Winnie the Pooh this situation. The honey for them. They stuck their hand in the honey pot, and I think they are gonna walk away with a lot of good stuff. Vegas sprayed down. It's got that Moko marker on him, and the follow-up is just too easy. 0-1 playing third party, and they harvest those numbers so easy.
Oh yeah, 7 elimination already, and this is one thing that we don't see often from 0-1 Esports. Good thing that they make it work, but my Yoda being shot at, turns the corner, King now for the chase, and I don't know though if this is the final player of Crazy Mind, probably just a distraction after revive has happened, but this is working for against Zeus Esports, so giving opportunity for the rest of the squad to loot up before they go in for a regroup, but my Yoda has to be the sacrificial lamb in this battle, and it brings 11 points to Zeus Esports right now.
As Zeus Esports, as usual, aggressive, just annihilating everyone they come across. But there's Gavi Yoda in a pickle here up against Crazy Minds, but backups on their way, so Gavi Yoda's going to be annoying.
Well, let's see though if Gavi Yoda will be able to pull it off. The rest of the squad is now on point. Now is into being shot at. King missing that and goes in for a little bit of cover because I think he heard a few more shots, a few more missteps in there from Crazy Mind because the way that he pulled up instead of rushing in, wait for cover, wait for backup, and this might be another battle that Zeus Esports will be winning.
Man, what a valiant dash. Gavi Yoda just running straight at them. King and Gavi Yoda, this deadly combo is perfect for annihilating squad after squad after squad. Many have tried, many have failed. Zeus Esports still standing strong. Maybe Nova can be that lucky contender to take them out of the lobby.
Well, someone inserted the coin, and here comes a new challenger. King got being taken down by King himself, and Zeus Esports not slowing down. Nova Esports trying to go for catch up on those elimination. Even Hayate will be taken out. Zeus Esports close to 20 points if they end Nova Esports now, and there's little no chance of them really letting go.
All Hayate said was Yamete, and they just did not stop, man. 17 eliminations, and Zeus is just getting started. 8 more victims for them to punish. And T-Kill is unfortunately not going to get far enough to save his squad. Stopped out in the open. King on the approach. One more shot. T-Kill still surviving. Has got the Kar98. Big advantage, but the AWM just not the gun for the situation. And Curling Jake gets it with the VSK. 18 eliminations. It's 7 more victims in front of them.
Shake and Vegan, Curlin Shake, and King was just in there for the bait. And it's just unfortunate. They took the bait, the hook, line, and sinker, and they couldn't survive towards the end. 8 teams remain in this fight. We still have DZ Esports, but they managed to deal with 0-1 Esports. It took a little bit of time, though, after being challenged earlier, but now it's a good run for DZ to slowly climb up in terms of elimination.
Yeah, too many good teams here. And ZMF, speaking of good teams, are finding some numbers for themselves. Crazy Minds in a battle up against ZMF that just doesn't go their way. Vending machine in the compound of ZMF, which they can use to bring vendors back, and they do exactly that. The squad is looking like they are back in it for some big numbers as well. I kind of feel like ZMF fell off the dominance train quite a little bit, Neptune.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because some alpha dogs or alpha teams has taken their territory and they're not moving up that much anymore in this fight. From the first time we saw them, they're once of the aggressive team. Or probably it's just a play for them. You want to show weaker from the early parts and then catch up on the numbers on the clutch, and then the grand finals we might see them bring back that aggression.
Yeah, but you can't pull a Crazy Minds on us, right? Wake up too late and then you can't even go to school. You miss out. Today's the day.
You missed the bus.
Yeah, you missed the bus. Now your mom's pissed off. You know, you shouldn't piss off your mom, right? DZ, 9 eliminations, looking for the reposition. Got a vehicle on their side as well. So this is going to get them into a safe little compound. But we've got such few numbers thinned down in comparison to our previous games. That it's making these rotations be so much more less chaotic, Neptune.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, from what I'm seeing right now in comparison from the previous game is we have somewhat of similar numbers based on the faces, but the elimination is not that much from every team right here. Probably, especially those coming from Group C. Crazy Mind will be taken down. It's DZ who managed to deal with them. Now we're 6 teams, and we were just looking at Stellar earlier. We were eyeing them to get that booyah, but get all those elimination from a distance. Now that the playing field is already smaller, they're still not bringing numbers, and it might be tough for them because a lot of teams will be surviving towards this end.
Absolutely. This next zone hold is not my favorite for ZMF. They are too much in the open. This is Lara. You should be able to find yourself a defensive spot.
Let's see though. We are pulling away from TV Tower. Only Casa Vista has most of the areas, or most of the compound in this area. And a couple of teams are already taking that. Stellar is one of those on the edge. ZMF might be taking this away from them, but you can see shots from DZ just to make sure that there's not so much of contention. But a team that we rarely see in this game, GCT Arrow, just jumped in right behind, or just next to DZ Esports, and this might be the ace that we are waiting for to really pop off in this final phase of the game.
DZ. Oh, QE. Elite fighting Curlin. Zeus under a little bit of pressure. Don't piss Zeus off just yet, man. You know those lightning zones will come out. Zeus out in the open, though. Would love to see exactly where they're holding. Oh, man! The circle. GCT Arrow. The right guess this time round. Reading this compound perfectly. They're in the best spot. And they get to punish teams like ZMF, who come in for the rotation shortly. As I say that, Stella will be the first ones to find the connection. VSK to the head. Easy recovery for ZMF, though, picking up their buddies. Those glue walls are going to run out if ZMF doesn't figure out how they're going to pull a quick rotation through.
Yeah, I agree. But from what we're seeing on Zeus Esports, they take a compound, probably hiding out, wait for the perfect timing for that zone reaches them, and at this point they can just force or they will be waiting for zone to force everyone in on to that next phase. Pulls up the binocular, spots out 3 players from QE, but launchpad being used right now to head into where GCT Arrow is. So this might not be a good play for QE, but we know that they're good on high ground.
Absolutely amazing on the high ground, I'll have to say. Just right outside the circle. Need to play this timing right. Stellar Gaming right behind the squad of ZMF. They've got a little bit of cover to work around with. Vendors pressure from up top. QE dealing with GCT Arrow at the very same time. Stellar Gaming's going to be very annoying, so ZMF needs to figure out how to take them out of this equation. Here comes those ice grenades, pressuring all of them down towards the bottom ground. And this might just be a full-blown battle between the two squads. As Stellar Gaming now makes the rotation. They will catch out Nopsy. And it is Lucas DZ enjoying the shot from afar.
Let's see though. Great rotation being done by Stellar right now to beat them out. And ZMF being eliminated that easily. And it's because of DZ, not even Stellar Esports. And Stellar Esports is dealt with by DZ Calvin. From that angle, DZ was just on point, not really pressured by the zone as well. That brings us to the battle between Zeus as well as either GCT Arrow or QE.
Look at Curtin Shake, man. Look at how far away from the rest of the Zeus squad he is. And he's going to be able to play this flank!
Oh no.
Unfortunately bad, because he just got sniped down to the ground and stolen away by Pelon. GCT Arrow helping out QE with that steal. DZ taking the shots up against Zeus as well. And Zeus is going to be at a disadvantage for the movement of this next circle on top of everything else.
Oh, let's see though. I mean, there's a good chance that they can get for a revive, but because there's still a vending machine in there. But the focus would be to get in position first, and DZ has managed to just squeeze themselves on the edge of that shift, and now luring everyone for that bait. Gaviota almost being caught off guard. If it wasn't for glue wall, he could have been taken down already. It was on view. Does take out Lucas on the other side. It's 2 teams being dealt with by DZ Esports.
Man, like we anticipated, this lobby is bloody insane, Neptune. Look at the battles. Look at the fights. Such tactical maneuvers from all of these squads just to stay alive, and we've got too many Titans alive for this final circle run. I don't think we have seen this many good teams in a final fight in such a strategic manner before. Zeus on the rotation, still keeping their numbers up here, having to deal without their prime sniper Curlin. QE flanking around behind Zeus, and Zeus will have to take this battle against QE if they want to stand a good chance for this next circle.
Let's see though if they will be able to bring a few more of those points. Just waiting on QE. They do have a good angle to take if they want to head into the next phase of the circle or on that next shift of the circle, but they're running out of time. QE slowly moving in just behind DZ Esports. Hopefully they don't make that much noise and continue on the battle of the continued battle of DZ and Zeus Esports. But here comes GCT Arrow becoming that distraction that can save QE and their run to the next phase.
Man, the circle is savage right now with the damage. Zeus Esports playing a big disadvantage here for themselves if they stick to the very edge of it. They take a little bit of damage from the blue and also pelted by the shot. GCT Arrow find the connections onto them. DZ as well, spotting out the Zeus players. One after the other, they are going to start going down. M249 finding Gaviota. Pickup coming on through. King, can you get him up? Yes, he can. Wasotview drops him down again with the M249. And GCT Arrow annihilates Zeus Esports all at the same time.
Belopio capitalized on all of those, and Belom has been knocked down. Everyone is now regrouping. Now, one launch pad might be the downfall of GCT Arrow in this point, but they only have 25 seconds to deal with before the shrink happen, and they need to deal with one team. Reduce the numbers, but QE stacking together against DZ Esports, and DZ might be at loss. Only Lucas remains, make that no one remains, and QE is showing their dominance, starting to step up and take the #1 spot once again.
Oh, but GCT Arrow trying to steal this one away from QE. QE has had a phenomenal run in here so far. A little bit of looting won't really be a disadvantage towards the final circle. But those glue walls on the side of QE barricading the squad up very well, forcing GCT Arrow to move outside of the circle. QE, on the other hand, looking for the reposition. Double monster truck on the play. They're going to go towards the opposite side of the circle and park those monster trucks perfectly for the flank. And Elite is going to play this perfect angle up against GCT Arrow. He's going to be the difference maker in this battle net.
Oh, here comes the lightning zone, and Almir feeling the wrath of GCT Arrow. It's only left to Wazon right now. A pickup can be done, but Pugita, Lil Flea, managed to make it work, and QE once again for a booyah.
QE with a second booyah, the first one up against the opponents in Group B and A. This one, it's up against the opponents in Group C and A. They're proving that regardless of what the combination is going to be, they're going to be able to dominate. And I have to say, what was the most beautiful about that booyah was the repositioning with that monster truck for Elite. I expected all of them to move out of position to play the distance, but it was a little bit smarter than that, right? Only the sniper put the distance between himself as well as all of that action. The rest of the frontliners stayed right where they were to play those shots off of the M590, and it was a thing of perfection. Elite actually got 2 eliminations off of that final battle because of the position he held on to them.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing, the ideation is Elite gets in for reposition, and we have only the ground floor that will be taken by the rest of QE. And everyone who will be jumping in from this from GCT Arrow side will be first spotted by Elite. Information would be relayed, and the full squad, the rest of the squad, will be going in just one direction. Isolation, isolating themselves, or Elite himself, and then isolating the rest of the squad of GCT Arrow one by one, and thus they falter without even that much of a fight.
I mean, it was a great game. Zeus also had a phenomenal run. Initially, they almost annihilated QE, and unbelievable how QE went on that recovery game, came back towards the very final end, also played a role in punishing Zeus, and then went on to get the booyah for themselves. A phenomenal storyline here for QE as they gear up for a grand finals performance. But, you know, even here at the knockout stage, they are already performing like how they would if this was that final day on Champion Rush now.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, the numbers are already stacking up. They're getting close to the target point for activation. And I'm really loving as well that it's not just going to one side. even those, even QE has managed to get 2 booyahs, the numbers being brought in by a different squad. It is DZ Esports. We've seen that earlier that they were aggressive. Even Zeus Esports are trying to catch up. It's just the number of games that they played. So this is the first introduction for Zeus Esports. So when we compare them in terms of like of the points, then Zeus might still be showing lower, but average-wise, they have brought a lot.
Yeah, Gaviota had just had a phenomenal run, and unfortunately he couldn't get close enough to the rest of these opponents to play that M590 towards that final circle, right? The rotations were cut off a little prematurely, and Zeus was punished mainly because of that. They have to figure out exactly how to get a tad bit closer, but you know, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes when you've got a tough lobby like this. And towards the very end, it was as usual, Pulgita, Elite. We talked about how the reposition came through for Elite, but Pulgita up there on the front lines with the M590, dancing around the plays for the second booyah. Team Quisqueya just proving that they are not here to mess around, they are here to dominate them.
Yeah, I do agree. And the Elite once again takes the board. 7 elimination, 4 headshots, 2 assists, and 3,037 on the damage. Still using the same skills that he has earlier in the Booyah, that Moors, Raphael, Moko, as well as Maro with that Dinocular and AWM. But again, BSK up close and personal, Elite can deal with all those damage. I'm really looking forward to this guy play it more into the battlefield. But as we look into 2 different players, we have Calvin from DZ and Gaviota from Zeus Esports. When we look at it right here, at this point, elimination and damage quite equal for both squads.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But on the elimination headshots, Gaviota takes the gold. Calvin, on the other hand, for the damage and the assist. And we saw so much of action between these 2 players and for these 2 players out there on the battlefield earlier on. Like I said, it was just phenomenal. Gaviota could not make that run to play those CQCs towards that final circle because of the position that his squad held towards the very end. And it was unfortunate, but that's how it is going to be if you don't get into these compounds early enough. Zeus will still dominate the leaderboard with the most number of eliminations, though. Out of the 78, they went back with 19 in this game.
Oh yeah, I mean Zeus Esports, a good run for them, aggressive, but it's just unfortunate they didn't get a booyah. But overall average is still good for the squad. So let's see if this is another story that the Zeus Esports can continue, because it's not yet over between them and Group A, because they still have another game. But judging from experience, Group A has 1 Bermuda already dropped into this day, and another one might make them even stronger.
Absolutely, man. I don't know exactly what to expect off of this next game because of just the level of quality that we've got within these squads, right, Neptune? That final circle was a thing of beauty. Everything that we have wanted to see here in FFWS USA Summer so far, these teams have been giving us. So it's perfect. I'm in love. I want to see more, but unfortunately, this is the halfway point of our competition. We've got 3 more games to go. When we come back, it's the battle between Groups A and C on Bermuda. And then for the final 2 games, we've got Groups B and C taking the fight up on Nextera as well as Kalahari. But we will have to assess a lot of that a little bit later on. We'll have to see whether or not QE can maintain their dominance for this very final map that they'll be playing in a bit, Neptune.
Yeah, really looking forward to them to continue their run, but it's only 1 more chance for QE right now, and then it's resting until tomorrow. But they have brought in the numbers right now. So we're going to go for a quick break. When we return, more of this battle continues. So make sure that you subscribe and don't go away, because a lot of games still will be happening. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, survivors. This is the Free Fire World Series USA. We are in our summer season and it is getting hot in here because 2026 has just been the year for USA to wake up and go beast mode. So many of these squads have shown us their quality so far, Neptune, especially here today. QE, 2 Booyah so far. Can they pick up another one? This is their final game as Group A makes their mark in the competition before we invite Group B back into the fray to deal with Group C. My name is AJ. I'm the Mustachio down here with the one and only Neptune, the Gentleman Garcia, your casters for the competition.
And a good storyline for QE. If it managed to get another Booyah, they can take the lead even further against DZ Esports.
Oh, yeah.
They are in the same group, but DZ Esports are just catching up because of elimination. So I'm really looking forward to some of the turnarounds, some of the upsets happening for either QE and DZ Esports to give way for some other squads like Crazy Mind. On third, they're still 21 points away from DZ Esports because they are aggressive, but a little too aggressive, a little too careless, I would say.
I do agree, man. But if you look at some of the other squads here, you can say that they're definitely struggling, right? Especially some of these teams from Group C. Granted, they've only played their first game in here so far, but we didn't really see teams like Stellar Esports get a lot of points. Flash, couldn't really cut out much from that battle as well. That lobby was just too vicious for their squad. So they need to figure out how do they bring in these adjustments? How do they stay out of trouble and out of engagements as long as possible? Because Flash is a team which I think can handle this lobby, but I don't think they were battle ready yet when they encountered, if I'm not mistaken, it was Zeus earlier on.
And that's one thing, they managed to put off a few of those knockdowns, but confirmation was not on point, and Zeus just managed to recover from Delta Isle, and it's just getting tougher and tougher with this groupings that we have right now. So let's take a peek on the overall standing leaderboard. As we mentioned, it's very close between QE as well as DZ Esports. Only 10 points in difference, but one Booyah and a decent amount of elimination can take a lead from either way. Crazy Mind up close in there, or close on the third, but not so much on the points. 21 point, and that leaves the rest on a catch-up game as well. A few of those contenders quite even, especially on the right-hand side of our leaderboard.
3 games down and 2 of it in the bag for Hiskaya. QE looking for their third Booyah here on the final game of the day for themselves for Group A. Can they do it? This is the repeat on Bermuda, and it was at Bermuda where we saw QE pull away that first Booyah in the most phenomenal fashion now.
Well, let's see though. I mean, QE or Kiskaya translates to Cradle of Life, and it seems like they are bringing in the life to this party. They're the ones leading the fray right now, and I don't see them stopping. Elite, especially in the sniper position, always on point. Great rotation being done, and he's leading the team to success and another chance to do it for the day. I'm really looking forward to another Bermuda Booyah from them.
Absolutely. 19 eliminations earlier on. But of course, granted, this is a different grouping altogether. We've got different kind of monsters in this group. We just saw what the previous lobby was like, surviving in that final circle. Dude, if that was not Solara, okay, if that was Purgatory, we would have just seen so much of chaos, right? Because we would have had even fewer defensive compounds. Many of these engagements that have happened in the open, especially those wild final circle rotations, I think it would have been a very different equation. So as we head on into a totally different map between these same 2 teams, the final opportunity for Group A to perform, I don't think they're going to be stepping back. I think they're going to go all out once again, but with a difference. DZ might just sneak this next one away.
Let's see though. I mean, DZ has managed to pull off a lot of elimination, great rotations as well. Survivability is on there, so they're in a good running for a booyah, and hopefully they do it, because even in the group stage they are bringing the numbers, but they were a little bit delayed. It's a good thing that it covers 2 weeks of battle, but now it's only 2 days and they need to hustle fast. They are doing it in the numbers in those eliminations, but we need those booyahs, especially on the Champion Rush Grand Finals.
Why I think DZ is going to be stepping it up is mainly because they're a very good team, but when we opened up the games with them at Bermuda, they that was their bad game, right? Out of the 3 that they've played so far, the first game was the worst for DZ, and then they played Recovery. So, and it's not a bad team, but I feel like they've hit their full momentum now, and they should be able to show us a very different version of themselves in this map. But of course, that's just pure assumptions based on the assessment that we've seen out here so far. But with a full lobby filled with monsters, Neptune, this is definitely going to be an exciting end for Group A before we see them again tomorrow.
Well, let's see though on where the teams will be dropping right now. Flight Path is from the north, heading into Mars Electric. Few teams are already taking on point, but favorites of the squads are those altogether: Shipyard, Bullseye, and Graveyard. 3 vending machines in the same spot, but QE taking Clock Tower. They want to go for the same run that they had earlier, but going into DZ, they're dealing with Nova from the first instance, from the second instance in Bermuda.
Absolutely. Hayate is going to be spotted out in the open. Oh, that's just the wrong gun for Vegas in that moment. Pulls out the Kingfisher, and the assault rifle does not find the accurate tags onto those players just yet. Actually, it's the AC-80, not the Kingfisher. But either way, DZ going in for the push. The time turner forced out, looking for the pickup. Hayate with the backup. And it looks like the cryo mine forces them all to scramble, and this should be another loss for Nova in terms of numbers.
Oh, I mean, definitely at a loss right now. One managed to pull away, one pulls away a little bit early in this fight. I don't think they have enough time to gather as much coins as possible. So Van Dijk needs to run far, far away from the rest of the squad right now to go for a revive. But as we can see, Van Dijk would be triggered right now with that hit list from DZ Esports. CM, our Crazy Minds, alright, 3 elimination in their way is another one. If they can spot out the final player from Zam Team, who's heading into Mars Electric.
My Yoda putting an end to that player right there. And Zam Team on their final run, final survivor alive somewhere on the battlefield. Flash needs their recovery game right here, right now. Stella caught out. But it's just that 1 point that goes the way of Flash before they made their exit. I don't think Flash is going to pursue them because they're not fully battle ready just yet. They don't want to waste all of these coins they've collected. So it's going to be some vending machines, a little bit more looting, and probably the arsenal. And I don't know if or not they'll be brave enough for those airdrops, but they got to try them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they have been doing so well in getting the arsenal. Airdrops, ultra airdrops would be a little bit more. It takes a lot of time and also tags them into the map. But Zeus Esports, a few players jumping in on top of DZ Esports from when we were looking at him. Now Flash might be going into this fight. Yancy just jumping in front of Flaking. Not a good way to introduce yourself, but if Yancy can make that shot with that M24 against Flaking before he gets close, then that would be 1 point for them.
Jans, this doesn't get away. Not too so sure, not sure at all, in fact, as to what was up with the ideation of that jump. No binocular scan, just a blind reposition, and he paid a big price for it, which was his own life. QE up against Flash. Flash cannot afford this fight. They need to find an exit strategy somehow now.
Helocido, Saskari going for the flank right now, seeing 2 of their teammates already down. It seems like Saskari is not as scary compared to the first time you see him. Flaking, though, Flaking is one of those CQC winners. Headshot onto Flaking, but a reversal being done by Saskari. On the other side, Elite did manage to get on the flank and a backstab onto both Flaking and Saskari. Unfortunately, it is just a quick movement being done by Saskari to take him down. Bulgita with a valiant dash, and that is Flash out in a flash.
Damn, this little flea can jump. What a play that was. M590, valiant dashes, forces Flash to panic and gets the final elimination. Flash does not find their recovery off of this game. It's going to be rough, Neptune. It's a different kind of lobby. But I also think that Flash is just dodgy, man. They're always just sleeping in their first couple of games just to show up when it's looking like it's all impossible. Crazy Minds tried to pull that move. Almost didn't make it. But Flash usually makes it.
Yeah, well, let's see though. I mean, Saskari is still part of the mix. Not that strong though compared to last time we saw them, but Crazy Minds against Ruthless. Being Ruthless at all, Mayota can be picked up. Now, let's see on where else Ruthless is on the map right now, because 8 elimination from Crazy Minds still secures that elimination leader at this point, and they're very close to getting into that zip line as they head into the main island of Bermuda.
Medina with a double revival. Zam team getting back into the mix here. Crazy Minds, on the other hand, just outside of Sentosa on the slow rotation. DZ versus O1 versus Zeus. A three-way battle could just be a thing here, but O1 says, no, not count me out. Do not get me involved in your nonsense. I am not here to play with you guys just yet. Zeus, though, Gaviota, all alone, out in the open, and he's going to call for backup as he stays silent.
Well, let's see though. I mean, 0-1 definitely means a lot in terms of points. That's 0 for you and 1 for me, so it's not looking good for 0-1. For the rest of the squad though, DZ might be meeting their end right now. It's a good thing that the launchpad has been triggered, and they're pulling away from Zeus Esports just in the nick of time. They're going for the chase on 0-1 Esports, but there goes the shot onto Dez, reducing the number of the squad, but the recovery is quite fast, and this forces Lucas to deal with a couple of players of 0-1, bringing a number to 8 points.
Wow, and of course Santi brings 2 of his buddies back in, but that's extra 2 points for Lucas there with that move. DZ with the brilliant reposition, but Zeus coming in for the hunt. You thought you got away? Think again. Can we see the fight? King takes Calvin out of the equation. Calvin takes King out at the same time at the M1917. Why are we not seeing that fight?
That's because another one might be brewing in here. It's a 3-way battle between Crazy Minds, Zam Team, and Ruthless. And judging from how Ruthless is, they're going down quite fast. And let's see though, Brian is just coming back from revive, and Brian's the one from Zam Team who did manage to bring back the rest of the squad after almost being annihilated, but they're still feeling the wrath of Ruthless right now, not really doing that much in this battle.
No, not at all. Crazy Minds up against Ruthless. On the other hand, UAV sent out. They've got the information. Reject. Jump back in here to Zam Team. Brian continues to loot.
Well, here comes Crazy Mind, 10 elimination, but will be slowed down with that lightning zone. The only question though is, where are the rest of Ruthless right now? If they can be spotted, if they can be taken down, that might be the end for the squad. But a revive, I believe, has been done already, so it might be Stellar who might be meeting them, and it's only Limaz going solo right now in Clock Tower.
ZMF on the hunt. Limaz is quite broke, so getting his buddies back in is going to be quite tough. But with ZMF just buying their own sweet time before they get into the next circle, it's going to give him a little bit of extra time to loot up some coins. Zeus versus DZ on the other hand, up close and personal. Those grenades could make a very big difference here. DZ on the approach. Revival platform. It's not going to be where King stands. Curtain shake from up top. SKS in hand. King backing away. First shot, not finding the connection. King! Oh, the shots from afar! Curling shake, the perfect backup. King finally dropped to the ground. But Curlin making the difference in that battle. Unfortunately, they didn't have the numbers to continue pelting them down with the bullets.
Yeah, I was questioning what King was doing in there, but he's just moving and like twisting and moving right there just to bait them out in a clear view of Curlin Shake. But I do agree with numbers. If you couldn't confirm, especially the frontliner has been taken down, then it is a lost cause for them. But right now, it's not lost for Nova as they're trying to beat down on GCT Arrow. Lopio is on the ground, will be eliminated after Godmade coming from Hayate, and that brings 2 to Nova Esports. And Nova Esports is one of those squads who always bring themselves in the top of the leaderboard, but not this time around because a lot of teams has been really aggressive on elimination.
Oh man, Stella just got revived, but I think they'll have to do it again. Limas is probably just really sour now. It took him a long time to find all those coins and finally stumble upon a revival platform where he brought all 3 members back in. But he's gonna continue exactly that once again. Zam Team versus Crazy Minds though. UAV sent out. They do get the scan. The mini UAV just spots out one player from the side of Zam Team, so I don't think it's enough information for Crazy Minds to go in for a rush just yet. Zam Team have got a decent high ground advantage against them.
Well, let's see though. I mean, high ground for Zam Team, but they were triggered on that hit list from DZ. So a 3v battle might be ensuing in a bit. But as we go in onto Bima Sakti, it's Zeus Esports feeling the wrath of not only the little flea, but the rest of the squad of QE. And Zeus is out of here. Curlin Shake goes in for a full revive, but will they be able to get away?
Will they be able to survive this? Curlin Shakes about to be held down. Almir, M590 in hand. Oh, a taste of your own medicine, Curlin. As he gets rushed, Almir showing them exactly what QE is made of. And Zeus, so dominant in the usual games, just can't seem to cut it against QE, who are on fire today.
Well, let's see though, QE on fire, 1v2 situation on Almir's side. And will he be able to win that battle? That is one of the biggest questions that we have seen. Almir is one of those CQC that can tie up in terms of performance with Elite, but Stellar has revived Garcia, so I think that's a more to deal with on the side of QE. As DZ goes for the binocular, spots out 5 players in Bima Sakti strip, and they will be eating in a bit.
Oh, Almir is unscoping at the wrong time there.
Oh.
And gives up on a chance to get a knock. Crazy on the other hand. It's flanking around together with Pulgita. And Almir, Pulgita combo gets them the points again. But DZ versus QE. DZ wants the circle. QE has the advantage for this next compound.
Let's see. Vegas a little bit too deep. Only AWM in hand right now. Calvin with a Winchester on the other side. They're trying to go for a flank. There goes M79. But will they be able to go for the finisher? Almir still managed to go for a knock. This forces DZ out. And this is what I'm talking about. If you can beat down DZ, you can take the #1 spot quite easy.
Man, they are making me dizzy. 9 opportunities given and 9 opportunities taken just in the past 2 engagements. Beautifully shut down here. QE on a dominant run, looking for the 3rd booyah of the day just to solidify their spot in the grand finals just through 1 day's run. How amazing is that? Crazy Minds though are gonna be pressured by Zam Team. Medina from up top, Brian from down below. Crazy Minds getting whacked from all corners.
Zeno pickup will be done right now, but here comes Kane, bringing the Kane and bringing the pain. Crazy Mind eliminated out of Zam Team's disruption of their revive and recovery. Ruthless though already on point on next phase of circle, but they are feeling the heat out of that lightning zone, and even Zeus could step up against Zam Team right now to get the next phase.
Well, Zeus just took Medina out of the equation. I don't know how he managed to find that backstab. Got a revival as well. Shuts down Brian. Dude, Zeus is doing so much here against Zam Team. Zam Team can't seem to catch a break. ZMF on the other hand pulls out a lightning zone and it tickles nobody.
Yeah, I mean, they're just making sure that they secure this next phase of the circle. And ZMF is on the edge, not of their siege, but on the edge of the circle. Ruthless being eliminated out of the Lil Flea from QE, and even some team couldn't survive. It's because of the aggression coming from Zeus Esports. Revive has been done onto King, but is this a little too late? We only have a few more shifts of the circle before it ends, and there's a few teams already on point.
No, QE, what a run. 16 eliminations. Led by Almir and his M590. He's got 8 glue walls in here. The rest of the players should have some decent numbers on them as well for those defense. It's going to be very important here for this next circle. As you can see, many glue walls being used here by QE just to get the rotation, cut down the distance. But what a grenade that just breaks down the defenses, and GCT Arrow just open themselves up to the annihilation that QE brings to the battlefield. And from afar, Elite just getting all those tags in as Almir wraps up the battle on the front line. 20 eliminations in, Elite taken out of the equation, sprayed down to the ground, taken out by the circle, and Elite's left just with 2 to find this booyah.
Yeah, not even the sniper who will be surviving in this fight. And ZMF, we were questioning where they are. We are questioning what are they planning. And this is what they're planning right now. Get a lot of elimination, get a next phase of circle as early as that, and just be down on the rest. But one problem would be Zeus Esports, who is going for flank against them. And this might be a good distraction to give way to QE's final player. He might be able to pull a clutch later on if in case a lot of trade-offs happen between these two teams.
We did say that QE needs to be careful because this is up against a whole new batch of squads here. And that stands true. QE do not have the strength to go for the booyah unless they sneakily pull one away and get a lot of luck on their side, because the little flea Pulgita can pull this off. But what he needs is for number one, the snipers to be taken out of the equation, and for Zeus and ZMF to thin down each other's numbers so that he can finally get involved in the battle. But Pulgita's going to be focused on, and ZMF is going to be looking for the finisher. Pulgita unable to punish anyone in that situation, and it's a full-on 4v4.
LSC though, I mean ZMF on edge of the circle, no ring around the rosy, but a shot coming from King with M590. This prompt the push coming from Zeus Esports, and with just that, they're slowly thinning down the numbers of ZMF. But a recap against those fights, but it doesn't last long. It is Zeus Esports taking the booyah in this game number 4.
Oh, they got close enough earlier on, but they could not get into the top 3. This time, not just the top 3, but they walk away with the booyah itself. This is Zeus finding their recovery. And if you look at Zeus's games, earlier on 19 eliminations they showed us at Solara, and now in Bermuda they walk away with booyah. One of the consistent teams in here that's looking for the grand finals as well, Neb.
Yeah, really looking forward to Zeus Esports being led by Gaviota, and it's a good showing coming from them right now. From the phase 1, or from the first phase of our competition, they were stuck in there in 3rd place, couldn't really catch up in terms of booyah as well as some elimination against INV and DZ Esports, but now they want to close the gap as early as day number 1.
Absolutely. And you have to do that because you don't have many opportunities, right? 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow. Very limited chances to make some sort of luck look at you and just smile at you a little bit, right? Because that lady luck, especially with the repositioning of the final circles, can make or break your defensive stance sometimes. But when we started things off for Nova, I really expected them to mow down DZ, and that was not what happened.
I mean, Nova did get a few elimination, but it's just getting tougher and tougher right now. They do have the experience, especially from Hayate, as I often point out, does have a Red Eagles brand on him before this knockout stage, so he does have that tenacity that they brought over in group stage. But KO stage or knockout stage is a different kind of battle overall. A lot of teams is pulling away all those hidden tactics already, and now there's no holds barred for the teams.
Absolutely, and QE is just on a point collection spree. It is a wonderful knockout stage opening for them in terms of performance, numbers. They've delivered on all fronts. Of course, the Nextera game was not too sharp, but even on a game where they were not too sharp, they actually managed to walk away with 15 points. Their worst game was 15 points. How crazy is that?
Exactly, and being reintroduced back in Bermuda, knowing that they have Booyah earlier, they still managed to go in for that elimination, for that hunt, and this is the final moment of that before a couple of their players has been taken down. But given an opportunity of surviving with 3, if not a full squad, they could have taken that Booyah against ZMF as well as Zeus Esports, because we know how well Elite gets into position just to thin down the herd.
Absolutely, man. And of course, in that particular circumstance, 20 eliminations is all QE managed to get for themselves before getting shut down. And then it was the ZMF versus Zeus kind of a storyline. Curlin Gaviota, Zeus, TMJ, as well as King. You know exactly how they've done it out there. And I have to say, King this time with the M590 and the extreme encounter out of that Zane made the biggest of difference for the squad. Up close and personal, up against everybody else. 9 eliminations, 10 headshots, 3 assists, 4,339 on the damage. Man, this guy brought in the stat snap.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a good combination that we have with that Zane and that Shani's gear recycle, because you also it gives you more of those shield points that you can deal and can be buffed up on that front line, and he can bring more elimination if he is geared. But against Pulgita, who really somewhat clutched it up with those 20 elimination earlier before ending or before bowing out in final 3, it's still a long run in comparison to King, but we know the numbers is not just for the side of Pulgita. The rest of the squad did a lot of work to get all those 20 points.
You're right, man. 10 headshots out of King versus 0 from Pulgita. I mean, do I need to say more? King is a decimator up close and personal. But look at this, 1/5 of the eliminations for QE this time round. I mean, they've just been on a phenomenal annihilation spree. 4 games in a row. QE has done so much with these eliminations, and they have to be proud of themselves. Overall, 100 eliminations out of this lobby, 118 knocks in totality, which means teams had very little capability to pick up the rest of their team members, which shows you the aggression and the pacing of the competition right now.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, that's also like the highest number of elimination that we've seen in Bermuda right now, and it's starting to get heavier and heavier for some of the squads right now who can deal with those elimination So hopefully they can catch up later on, but I'm not talking about those in Group A, because that is their final day or the final game for today. So we're going to reintroduce Group B in Nextera and Kalahari, and let's see though if this kind of mix of B and C would be different. Would it be still aggressive, similar to what we've seen in the first 4 match?
Yeah, I hope it is, right? Because the first 4 games have been so exciting because of what QE has been able to do. But I am fairly sure, very, very sure, as a matter of fact, that teams like ZMF, teams like Stella, teams like Zeus will definitely give us a run for our money in the final 2 matches available. And we will welcome back Group B into fray as well. And when you look at Group B, INV hasn't woken up just yet. It's the best team out of Group B, but still they haven't stepped it up just yet on the battlefield, which shows you the potential of how chaotic this next grouping can be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, speaking of stepping up, Celtic GG needs to step up a lot. They only got 3 elimination out of the next map that they will be playing in. So I'm really looking forward to them really bringing in the fire. But looking at overall standings, Celtic GG is still a little low, second to the last. I guess it's still better than Flash Esports with 1 point. But looking at what QE Kiskea has managed to pull off, only 1 point out of a century in this game, and they are bowing out with a smile on their face.
Oh, definitely smiling all the way. And if this was Champion Rush, 80 points, 90 points, it doesn't matter, man. They are already on activation looking for a Booyah to end the competition. Unfortunately, this is not the grand finals, And even more unfortunate, we don't get to see the rest of their performance because they are done for the day. This next one, again, Nextera, Kalahari. I'm looking forward to seeing Kalahari for the first time today.
Yeah, I mean, Kalahari would be the last, and we saved best for last, as we often say, and we would just have to find out. But Nextera for Group B and C is just a warm-up. We know how much elimination can be brought in this kind of map. We've seen that earlier in match number 2, and Group B has experienced that already. So, against Group C, let's see if they can recover, or half of the squads in Group B can recover, because, again, we're still looking at monsters in this lobby from Group C.
And we're not seeing any weird active-passive skill combinations. We are not seeing bad rotations. We are not seeing mistimed grenades or misplaced grenades. I'm so proud that these players, these squads have really taken things up to a whole other level in just a couple of seasons, right? It's ridiculous how good and quick the improvement has been from the whole server, not just one squad, definitely not just one player, but from all of these teams out there, Neptune.
Yeah, I do agree, and I'm really loving this kind of move coming from the teams in the USA, because from the previous season, they just found out that we're having one representative into Esports World Cup. And with the FFWS being added in this region, definitely Global Finals is not too far away. So they want to be prepared for that. They want to be prepared in another global fight. And we're seeing a lot of contenders already that has adapted those strategies from different regions. So those strategies might help them, or probably outwit some of those who are already rocking the leaderboard in the global scene far longer than they have.
And that's the beautiful thing about Free Fire Esports, right? Because you've got 2 big competitions every year. You miss out on the first one, no problem. It doesn't mean it's all over for you. In fact, you actually got to double up your efforts. You got to really focus, because you had an opportunity, you couldn't run away with it. You've got another one by the end of the year. You got to make sure it happens, right? And it's such a difficult thing for me, because I can't choose which team I would love to see go to global finals out of these squads. I mean, even crazy minds, I would still put them in my list because of how exciting they are to watch out there. But for sure, Zeus, QE, they have been very consistent, very impressive with how they've made their decisions so far out here on the battlefield. Of course, Zeus is so much more consistent and so much more frequent when it comes to showing us these dominant runs, Neptune.
Yeah, let's see though. I mean, there's a lot of changes that has been happening match after match, stages after stage, even in just this summer season. So Zeus Esports, despite of them not really performing that well, it's the same story that always run to my mind right now. They're just taking it slow. They can bring the numbers. They can get into that threshold of top 12, top 18, whatever they have, and they're just reserving all those energy towards the grand finals. But even the grand finals doesn't secure them getting the champion, because from what we've seen, as Miyakor pulls the rug away from Zeus Esports, it is getting tougher and tougher. Even the numbers is growing in activation of Champion Rush. So I'm really loving this kind of tournaments in Free Fire competitive scene.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Which is why I really think the knockout stage should just be a practice ground for these big squads who are looking to become champion, to really go for the booyahs game after game after game. Not eliminations, right? I don't think the big teams need to really double down on the eliminations. In fact, it's really useless at this point of time. They need to figure out how to guarantee booyahs for themselves, Neptune. They need to come up with some ideas, some strategies, and they need to find those executions out there. They need to use this knockout platform as this knockout stage as that platform to practice. Because at the grand finals, no booyah, very big problem. You will miss out once again.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, I know, like some carries momentum out of elimination, some carries momentum out of their rotation, but it's just those quick enough teams who can make the adjustment, quick decisions towards whatever goal they want to take, whether it's elimination, whether it's those placement points, but the balance of both can secure them activating the champion rush condition quite easily, even with the booyahs. Like, just bring on 3 booyahs in a row, and with a decent decent amount of elimination, and it's quick enough to get all that 90 points. Easier said than done, but it's a good plan indeed if they can find that final circle. And I do agree, knockout stage, group stages, that is a good way for them to practice that, but we haven't seen a lot of teams manage to pull it off.
Nah, not yet. I'm actually looking forward to seeing MiaCorp back in the run here as well. MiaCorp is in Group B. They missed out one game, and even though they missed one game and they've only played one so far, they're still in the top 12, right? That shows you the quality of the USA representatives who are going to go to Paris very soon. Fingers crossed, they've got all of their documentations and all sorted out. It'll be a heartbreak if they can't sort stuff out like that, right? But those are the complications when we have these LAN events and you want to be flying out from country to country. But I think, as far as the region is concerned, they shouldn't be too worried about anything. They should be able to make it there. I'm very excited, Neptune, because Game 5 is about to kick off. We get to see a little bit more of Group B in here now, and we get to see exactly what Group C has to do with the situation. Can Zeus Esports dominate? Can teams like Celtic wake up in the competition? Can Mia prove themselves? So many storylines for us to look into.
Well, let's see now, because the next map will bring terrors to the team, whether it's a terror from the beginning or terror towards the end, because this is next terror. And we are looking into it. When it starts off with a long opening, I always end up with a dad joke. So just keep an eye on that.
I was wondering what's this next terror of a joke is going to bring to the broadcast. And you showed it. Oh, it is okay. We appreciate your dad jokes, Snap. As we gear up for this next game, I still want to see what the plan is going to be like for teams like Flash, right? Because 2 games in, we haven't seen Flash wake up in the competition. Celtic has been going through a little bit of a dip in performance as well. Stellar Esports, we talked about how they did not manage to secure. They're the only team out of the top 18 who did not manage to secure even a single booyah for themselves in the group stage. These are the 3 teams who are down at the very bottom, who need to wake up, man. If they don't wake up here at Nextera, I think it's going to be very difficult to make their way into the top 12 because they're getting left behind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, being left behind is not something that you do in just a couple of days of play in a knockout stage. And I don't know, the gap between them, as well as it being Flash, as well as the 12th place Cartel or Caesar, is not that far, only 17 points. So if they can do it in one game, then they can jump up, catapult, or launchpad their way onto the 12th spot or above the 12th spot, and then another game to follow just to secure the top of this leaderboard. But we'll have to see. They have to pull it off because it's not easy right now, especially with most of the teams getting aggressive with elimination.
Absolutely. Flight path looking like it's a little bit skewed to the left, but it's not going to be too much where it's going to get us super excited. Zeus heading on into Intellect Center and everybody else having the brains to not disturb them.
Well, let's see though if they will be smart enough to pull away from Zeus Esports. And, well, they just waiting for their time. Biding in time on that drop, no contention right here. Most of the battle might be happening in the southern part of this map, or probably within Deca Square or Mudside. But this is what we're talking about. Mia Corp will capitalize on their with their aggression against a team that is not really popping off, which is Stellar Esports.
Let's see. MiaCorp versus Stella. Can they turn it their way? Caesar's already lost one player against Flash. Salami finding Josh Ware. Mia getting capped by Stella at this point of time. Unknown finding another player from the side of Caesar. Fake 8 down. And Flash about to break down this glue ball. Mateos, all the sprays. The response from Hutoito. Almost, but the game of numbers will catch up with him, and Hutoito goes down as well. Gets the mini Uzi headshot. Well, Stella looking for the recovery. Mia rushing straight into them. This battle, they've gotten the revival already. Regardless of what Mia does now, Stella cannot get taken out, but can't say the same for Caesar.
Oh, let's see though. Caesar is in trouble already as a Flash is beating them down, but Mia is also meeting the short end of the stick right now. Not that aggressive against Stellar Esports, and we're expecting Stellar to go down as quickly as a few seconds. But Not quite sure what would be the ideation of Mia Corp. They might be slowing it down, pulling away from this engagement, trying to distract them so that they can have an advantage on a revive from the vending machine. But Caesar will be bowing out a little bit early. Gives more opportunity for Flash to move up the ranks. Salami being cut up, being eaten up, and Black will be seeing the dark. Only Limaz who will be staying alive, heading into Rustown right now. No contention in that regards. Even triggered that binocular to make sure that it is clear.
Man, we've got two squads, 1NT, Celtic. Their logos overlapping on each other, so there's just no way to tell who's on whom. But 1NT with the full recovery, Celtic on the scramble. I am just not feeling good about this for Celtic GG. They haven't been able to find the full recovery just yet, and they're still just on the prowl. We've seen many times Celtic just getting it done with just 1 day's play. But is it going to be the case this time around as well? Hugo dealing with the player from the side of 0-1 earlier. But GCT Arrow dropping by. Hugo with the double revive coming on through as well. Boson finds Hugo, but Hugo's the reason why Celtic will continue to survive for a little bit longer.
Yeah, the only question is where are they dropping? Mudside would be quite near, and it has a vending machine for them for the recovery, but they need to gather up all those coins. ZMF, after an awesome run earlier with a lot of elimination, they will be dealing with some of the squad of Shadow 7, and Nando will be picked up though. On the other side, Stellar back in play, but two contenders against them. It's 1NT. We didn't see that much earlier, as well as Zeus Esports, who's bringing a lot.
Absolutely. Zeus, no elimination so far. 1NT might just be the ones that start the chaos. One revival's going to come through. Actually, no. One quick reposition is going to come through. 1NT with their sniper far away. This could just be the difference maker between them and Zeus. But here comes the fight. Gus finds one Gabi Yoda with the Punisher onto count. Curly Shake finds Brian. Oh no, they're just dismantling them.
Yeah, I mean, isolation, taking it down one by one, and count couldn't even count to 3 at that point, and they got eliminated in this fight. Zeus Esports with 4 elimination already, in a good way, in a good position as well to slowly get into next phase. But as we look into Mia Corp, who's slowly building the numbers, still need to deal with some players of Celtic GG, but repositions to regroup, making sure that they will not be isolated and taken down that easily.
1NT is just irritated they couldn't pause the game whilst they repositioned. They just did. They were not ready. Okay, they were trying to get into position, and Zeus just said, "No, we are starting the fight right now." But Mia and Celtic, this is a fight Celtic should not start. Oh, okay, no, the 4th play is in. They can start it now.
All right, let's see. Johan being taken down, Nyx in the nick of time, and Pixel Peak goes for that shot. You go right now. I'm not quite sure if this is a good place to be in, because Nyx has you on their side. M4 not a good weapon right now for Hugo. He will need a sniper at this point if he wants to get those elimination, but I guess it's a little too late.
Yeah, it's definitely too late, man. I mean, Hugo's just not going to be effective from up top. He can give information to the rest of his team members, but he's not going to be able to back them up with those strong shots. Vending machine there. Celtic is trying to pull away one revive here and not have to depend on their sniper. Furies will be able to do exactly that. Johan brought back into the fight, and he's going to be sacrificed as well, as he cannot get away from the heat that Mia Corp brings to the table. But Celtic hanging on somehow.
Let's see though. I mean, Celtic GG's just feeding Mia Corp those elimination, those numbers. But Biblix going for the chase. I don't know, this might be a bait, but he went overboard, just going in far away, probably taking the bridge. He knows the plan. Celtic usually takes that high ground, especially when we're talking about Hugo. But as we switch over onto the other side, it's Battle of Giants once again. Zeus Esports going against GCT Arrow, and Belon is the one who's feeling the wrath of Zeus.
Absolutely. King, a sliver of health, but he will be punished. Unable to recover the player. GCT Arrow, though, already 2 on the ground. It's a 3v2. Make that a 4v2 as they get the pickup onto Curlin Shake. Colado all alone. Can grab a drink for himself because he can chill right after this. Oh, vending machine play. Colado, a miraculous one, gets a double. Not enough coins to bring his buddies back. Can he get a triple? Colado with a miraculous run so far. No annihilation just yet. Colado gets the third. TMJ down. Colado on fire. And he hits the double revive and Zeus forced to run away. Holy hell. What a run by Colado.
Colado bringing collateral damage against Zeus Esports. This is not what we expect out of that fight. We were expecting Zeus Esports to dominate, but it's just because they were aggressive. He is on point, and M1887, a weapon that we don't see often in this kind of battle royale, but he had a lot of practice. 2 shots to the head, and that brings the opponent down quite easily.
Absolutely, man. Just playing off of the meta because that's all he could afford to loot up. Couldn't get a better gun, but he made it work, and that's just hot in that fight. And you saw the guy was on fire, and the desperation to get those revives. Must be truly delighted that he pulled that off, and hopefully that gives them a little bit of extra boost, a little bit of extra adrenaline through their veins for these 2 games, because we want to see more from them. GCT Arrow. 10 squads left in here. ZMF up against a couple of players from the side of O1 Esports as they send that UAV out that gets scans on no one.
Well, no one will be scanned, but at least O1 will be scanned. We just leave out that N on that statement just a bit for it to be true. But ZMF is moving just in those haystacks. Quite sure if they have a clear shot on 01, but speaking of a clear shot on 01, it's Shadow 7 dealing with 01 right now, but quick recovery being done by the squad. Outside the zone in Deca Square, here comes Mia Corp, slowly building their way into the next phase of the circle, but second going to the third might hurt them in a bit. Even with the team boosters, they need to move fast.
Jans. Valitoso is just dangerous, man, with the VSK. But if that was an AWM, I think the story would have been a tad bit different. INV. We talked about how INV needs to play recovery. They need to climb the leaderboard because out of 2 games earlier, they had about an average of 14 points, Neptune. Not too bad if you want to stay in the top 12, but I think INV is one of those teams who can really make a run for the championship come grand finals. So you need to practice those booyahs for sure. Was on Pew though. Perfect on the practice. They want to deal with the big dogs. Zeus themselves. Again and again and again. They find them. Gaviota with the double revives just to make sure the team stays in here. But GCT is definitely on a good run now.
Let's see now, GCT Arrow. It's just getting tougher. Zeus right now, and we thought they will be recovering and carrying over those numbers. But Balitoso, Pixel Peak, getting those shots in through the shoulders. Almost a quarter being damaged in there on an opponent. Blackdout needs to pick up, and it did work for them. Onto the edge of the circle, though. Eyes are on them. Now questioning who would be targeting them. Celtic might be one. They do have Hugo, but they also have Flash, who might be pinching at them in a bit. But unknown position, unknown Salami turns the corner, not spotting unknown just yet, but a little bit more. Celine dance and goes for the Morse and the glue wall. Unknown is saved.
Salami. Happens to the best of us, man. Happens to the best of us. He remembered to check his corners, but not look in front. It's a disaster.
Definitely disastrous on that regard if they want to really get those numbers in. But for Stellar, they will need to do a lot more in this fight. Celtic GG is another one that needs to do a lot more, but it's a good thing that dealing with Zeus Esports, and Zeus Esports is not getting any luck at all on those recovery.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 5 eliminations for Celtic, 4 for ZMF. Celtic and ZMF both looking for the recovery. And I'm talking about their position on the leaderboard, which is not looking too good, especially Celtic. They've really taken a dip, but it's okay. Whoa, Hassan Pugh. The arrows on a different level this game. But it's surprising that they only have 10 eliminations. I feel like they've already gotten 20 by now.
Yeah, I mean, probably it's because first time they played, or first few games that they played, they only gathered 20 points. So they want to bring in elimination. Placement point, they already made it compared to the other teams in Group C, but they still need a lot in terms of numbers. But ZMF right now, another team that brought in a lot of fight from the earlier game. Let's see if they can recover in this battle, because they need not only deal with 0-1 but also a few players from the other side of MiaCorp. But Limas did manage to go in for a knockdown. MiaCorp next, the only one remaining, and will this be it? Unfortunately, MiaCorp still wins that battle against Stellar Esports.
Mia almost annihilated by Stella. But Nick's all alone, just the final stand, and that was more than enough to get a triple for himself and the pickup on his buddy. Can they get to the vending machine? Yes, they can! And it is Nyx himself that gets it done. Gets the triple elimination, gets the pickup, gets the revives, and Mia's back all because of Nyx.
Oh yeah, Nyx right now. Let's see, and what else the rest of the squad can do. CMF side though, safe approach for them. Goes for that binocular, goes for that cryo mine, but didn't act upon it. Not getting that much elimination from that battle, but they need to move fast. ZMF would be in the way of the next phase of the circle closing in, but they're still dealing with Shadow 7 from afar. But speaking of terror, our introduction earlier, they might be feeling the terror right now, because outside the blue, it's not a good way to run right now. On the left is Gaviota, on the right is the rest of Zeus Esports, and Shadow 7 needs to step into the light right now.
Shadow 7 almost close enough to tickle the one and only Zeus Esports, but shots from afar, an interference. ZMF finding the shot onto Shadow 7, and it's Zeus that's taking shots up against ZMF, who's actually helping them out in this situation. Obviously, they don't know that. 01 Esports, ZMF, Celtic, INV, 4 squads, tiny little compound, and 01 cannot breathe. They get snuffed out too early. Lapta's down on the ground. Celtic losing their lives. Hugo is there, M24 level 3, but the time turner, he can't find the connections with his shots just yet.
If it wasn't for the time turner, he could have gotten knocked down already. Vandus trying to go against him, but M24 CQC battle coming from the sole survivor of Celtic, but I don't think he can recover. He does have some medkit, but not enough time, and Celtic GG will be out. Same goes for MiaCorp, and we are down to 4 teams, and GCT Arrow with a good run right now. After being pushed to the 13th spot, it's easy enough for them to take this booyah and move up the ranks.
18 eliminations strong. GCT Arrow definitely on a phenomenal run here. Can they break the record of the day? I believe we had a total of 20 eliminations, if I'm not mistaken, Neptune. That could 22 eliminations, 22, clocking in as the highest. And GCT Arrow make this one look like a walk in the park. They completed so many of the mini missions earlier on.
Yeah.
the final one just looked like it was too easy for GCT Arrow.
Yeah, even the Giants, even Zeus Esports being gunned down in there from the position of GCT Arrow. We didn't expect that to happen, but you know how it is. If forced to do so, when put into the wall, GCT Arrow would recover. This is a good way to point that out as an example. They are not weakening up. They're just intentionally slowing down and then get stronger when needed.
I mean, it's insane that you're able to control your pacing and you know, everything about your gameplay in a lobby like this, which is just so unpredictable, right? If you can guarantee some points out for yourself, your squad in a lobby like this, I think you deserve a lot of respect. And GCT Arrow, just that kind of team. It wasn't the greatest of starts, but it wasn't the worst of starts for them as well. We saw them at Game 3 Solara earlier. They did fairly well. Bermuda Game 4 was where they took a little bit of a dip in performance, but it's all right because they surged right back up, not just with eliminations, but the booyah this time round at Nexterra.
Well, let's see though, as we take a peek on the replay, and there's a lot of engagement that were happening. I think there's a very little dull moments in this situation because everyone's finding someone in Battlefield. But even Zeus Esports, in this situation in Wonder Ruins, they were dealing with a few players from Blink 1 and T, but that's when they were introduced to GCT Arrow, and that's the beginning of the struggle for Zeus Esports. That clutch that Coleado managed to pull off, it just breaks down the spirit of Zeus Esports, and they couldn't even recover.
And Coleado, man, if it wasn't for this play for Coleado, can you believe it? They would have gotten annihilated already. Zeus would have taken them out of the equation, and we talked about how dominant Zeus is, how good Zeus is, but Coleado just outplayed all of them with an off-meta shotgun, right? That was the most impressive thing about that whole engagement. And later on, Nyx with the squad-saving run up against Stella as well. That was a mind-blowing battle for us to witness. And he went on to pull his team members back up onto their feet, but Mia just could not make that full run towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, what's even crazier for the side of GCT Arrow is they came from the 13th spot, but with that game alone, with a lot of elimination plus the Booyah, I think it's really a good chance that they will be jumping up several spots in this leaderboard. But again, final moments from Zeus Esports out of the zone into the lightning zone, or the bolt maker couldn't even survive that shot from Pilon, and it was just tough for Zeus Esports in this game.
And with this game, GCT Arrow basically sets the brand new record for the day. This is the highest number of points that a squad has picked up from a lobby today, from one single lobby today. 34 points in total for them. They ended the game with 22 eliminations plus the Booyah. The last team to get 22 eliminations was DZ, and they did not get the Booyah in their game. So officially, these guys are the record holders now. 5 eliminations, 10 assists, 3,947 on the damage pay on with the Morris, one of the sharp snipers out there who can really punish you if you pull your rotations off wrongly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, out of the damage itself as well as the assist, you can see that he's done a lot in that fight. Going against a sniper, another sniper, on a head-to-head, we have Hugo right now. 4 eliminations, not so much compared to what we often expect from Hugo from Celtic Celtic GG. 3708 on the damage, but it's Uziel from ZMF side, the second placer on that game, that took this fight and probably win this head-to-head in terms of elimination.
Yeah, but of course on the headshots and the assists, we are all tied. Hugo does bring more damage compared to Uziel, and that's actually very common for Hugo, right? He's the sniper of the squad. He's finding these long-range engagements all around the battlefield, and usually the guy who's pulling in those numbers as well. Just unfortunate that things are not going his way today. In fact, not going the way of his squad at all. 22 out of 103 eliminations for GCT Arrow. This was a game overall. 137 total knocks, so a little bit of an improvement on the overall rescues that have come on through.
Yeah.
But, you know, more rescues, more revives just means more action out there, and teams like GCT Arrow will lap it up.
Yeah, I mean, looking at numbers as well onto headshots, it's 97 headshots out of 103 of elimination. So most of those elimination was just headshots all along, and I'm just really loving like the statistics every time we jump into Nextera. Though the numbers are slowly dwindling because of how well teams are surviving, going for the pickup, for the revive, but it still brings in 100 points every time they jump in here. That's a lot of points that will be spread across the board, and that's one reason as well why GCT Arrow, if this is one of their most preferred map, can get those numbers in and take that record of 22 points away from the rest.
You said it right, man. I mean, what a game for GCT Arrow. This is their biggest recovery game so far, unless they show us another bigger game, right? But I think I might be asking for a lot, because 22 eliminations in a lobby like this is crazy. 22 eliminations in a lobby like this should be non-existent, but that's exactly what GCT Arrow has. And with the third game alone, they've already climbed up to the 4th spot, and now they are one final game away. Can they get to QE spot? No, absolutely not. I think there was a huge difference between how QE performed and how GCT Arrow performed. QE obviously was so much more consistent with their matches, and also QE was in the game with GCT Arrow, preventing them from getting those booyahs. But now the story is a little bit different, Neptune. I love it. Towards this final game, this is where GCT can wake up. This is where Celtic can wake up.
Yeah, I mean, one thing though that might hurt the ego of Zeus Esports is if GCT Arrow, because after that clutch that Collado did manage to pull off, if GCT Arrow takes him early, beats him on leaderboard, then Zeus Esports would be really disappointed out of what GCT Arrow is bringing in. So that's just a little bit of rage baiting for Zeus Esports.
I mean, I think they cool, calm, and collected most of the times, but that 3v1 should have been on their side, right?
Yeah.
It didn't go their way, and I agree with you. I think a lot of rage is going to be shown because it has already been baited by Collado in that, again, off-meta shotgun. It's not like it's not going to work at all. It's just not your number one shotgun you'd go for in the current state of the game. But he made it work, man. I mean, phenomenal move. And he was dead broke, right? The desperation was there. It's not like he was trying to hold off his opponents to focus on the vending machine, which I feel like has been the wrong decision by so many of the players that we have witnessed out there so far. Collado didn't make that mistake. He stood his ground. In fact, he never stood in one place for too long. Constantly moving. Those glue walls were played perfectly, and those eliminations got him enough coins to bring back 2 revives just in that fight.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, it's more of focus, how to switch it up in the perfect moment. Because if your mind is distracted with a different task while you're dealing with a much harder task, then you will be failing on both. So Collado just prioritize on which is harder and which he can and needs more focus to pull it off. And like the 1v3 was just impeccable. That was something that we don't see often in these highlights, but we're loving all the same.
Yeah, it's just like when you said, right, your back's up against the wall, you got to figure out some magic to pull off. If he had enough coins, I think he would have just gotten 1 revive, and then he would have just gotten punished for it, which would have been a very useless play because, you know, the chances of that one player surviving would have been really low as well. But, you know, we'll continue talking about... No, actually, we get another chance to talk about GCT Arrow. Here's the team lineups, and GCT Arrow's right there.
GCT Arrow, Pelopio, Pelon. I guess other than Collado, I mean, Pelopio is one of those that can bring those numbers on long range, but it's getting tougher and tougher because a lot of snipers has been rising in these ranks. Back then, it was just like Sanchez 7 from Shadow 7, but since he's not and the team's not performing, we look into Yugo, and even Yugo of Celtic Gaming or Celtic GG is not performing. So we look into other snipers. We see Lucas, DZ is one of those that can bring in those elimination, but right now, like I think for GCT Arrow, it's time to bring in a couple of snipers in this game. They can play it out similar to what we've seen in the other teams because Kalahari is a better playground to do so.
Now, let's see how the Celtic work their way through this matchup because we are waiting for them to wake up. Celtic's best game was that Nextera map, and as you guys all saw, it wasn't that good of a game. Only 12 points. Their first 2 games, they had an average of 3 points per match. So it's been a rough day out there for Celtic. Shadow 7 up against Flash. So this is a fair fight between the 2 squads.
Yeah, I mean, Flash is winning those gunfights, forcing Shadow 7 to relocate. And right now, I mean, this is seldom we see a revive platform being used, but it's good enough that they are still using that for the moment, giving more time, though, for Flash to go in for those looting phase. GCT Arrow was on, being knocked down, but Collado is not slowing down. But on the other side, shots from Stellar Esports. This might look good for Stellar Esports, but the moment they get close, they might be bit down by GCT Arrow.
Yeah, but O1 is trying to close the distance here as well, trying to interfere in this battle between GCT and Stellar. Salami with the MP5 on the spray down. Kristen finds one with the M1014 as well. And it looks like Stellar has got a hold on these CQCs. One of the teams that are looking to find recovery for their gameplay within the day as well. So good on Stellar for sure.
Yeah, really looking forward to this. Stellar Esports slowly building that momentum in this fight, and they're not even going against a weak team. They're dealing with a team who managed to get the booyah, but GCT Arrow just proves the booyah curse still alive. It didn't happen earlier for QE, but now it's happening for GCT Arrow.
Stellar, can they pick on Zeus? This is a big fight. Salami, level 2, MP5 has the advantage. Valiant dash! And Gully Jake from afar! Gaviota! Oh man, the team gets dismantled. Limas, the final player on the side of Stella. They bit off more than they could chew. And Zeus punished them for that. Limas sent scurrying off to look for those revivals.
That's one thing now. I think this is a pattern that we keep seeing from Stellar Gaming, from Stellar Esports, wherein they are aggressive the moment they win the fight. They get a little bit too comfortable, not really looking into anyone who might contest. And that's the reason why they only have one player in this side. Now, Shadow 7 dealing in a 1v1 against Josh Burr. Sanchez 7 doesn't have a sniper on him, only a Kingfisher as well as M60. But Josh Burr does have an LG on his side. But here comes the rest of Shadow 7, who might be beating him down. Sanchez 7 would be a great distraction as they go for the pickup. But back and forth we go on Mia Corp as well as Shadow 7. But INV will be knocking on their doors.
Yeah, Lightning Zone as well. So Mia Corp needs to be careful here. They're going to be camping away at the vending machine. But if you want to sit down on the prize possession of the maze, you got to be ready for some heat. Here comes INV. Mia Corp. Unfortunate as Drytex gets caught out. Max 7 perfection out of Erica. Biblix finds Palitoso as well. INV getting fished out. Palmer, the final one left. He needs to get to the vending machine, and he does. Double revive. But Minor did not get taken out just yet. He couldn't hit the triple revive because Minor was still alive on the battlefield. And INV has to figure out how to do this with just the 2 players.
It's getting tough for INV. I mean, a team that we often see put off a lot of elimination is now struggling in this fight. And Flash, again, another team that we didn't expect to work on because first 2 games, only 4 points. Now, they're bringing more of that in just the early parts of this lobby. But, see, sir, struggle is real for this squad, dealing with 0-1 Esports. But, you know how it is. Even 0-1 couldn't survive longer in this fight. And if, in case, Caesar did manage to recover, they can just wait for 0-1 to be taken out.
Absolutely. There's Santi, Lotex Bao, 0-1 Esports. Need the coins, they get the coins. Needed the revive, they got the revive. And this game feels like it's been going on forever, but we are just reaching the 5th minute here. So much of action, Neptune. From the moment we started this, Uzia, what a valiant dash. Gets right behind Biblix. Obviously, the sniper was at a great disadvantage there in the CQC. Even if he did manage to pull off a phenomenal shot, would have had to deal with the rest of the ZMF players, which wouldn't have gone his way. A command post now fully commanded by ZMF.
Yeah, ZMF, I mean, their beginning run is not that strong, but the following is just on point. And they're still building that momentum right now. So 12 points, 21 and 19. And now they already have a lot of elimination already to even that out. And it's a good run for CMF. Something that we didn't see that much on the group stage. Or probably because they've done enough already that they didn't put that much effort on bringing in a lot. And a good strategy as well to hiding strats, but Lodex Bao 1v1 against one player of Carlos Sur. But there goes Hoi Toto being taken out. It's because of the backup coming from 0-1 Sport or 0-1 Esports right now that brings 4 elimination for the team.
Absolutely. And Caesar is not really getting a lot from that situation. But it's all right. Recovery is still on the books here for the squad. 4 eliminations strong for the squad of 0-1 Esports. And I feel like this team needs a little bit more. Not on the best run here so far. Haven't found the final circle even a single time from their past 3 games.
It's tough. It's tough for the team right now. But it will be even tougher because we are now going to meet the second phase of Circle going third. Now, Brian with AWM peeling away from the rest of the squad right now, and they're going in a different direction. They're heading to sub, trying to get a good opening, but where does leave Brian? Will he be able to get there quickly and trying to get away from the side of that team that he is hunting, he is stalking right now? INV on Refinery, trying to deal with or probably force Celtic GG out of this compound, but it will be tough right now because they don't have that elevation to take shots against Celtic.
Manar has the card. Hugo has the AWM though. Hugo does not have the angles. So INV cuts the distance down.
Oh?
One tag onto the Celtic player. INV just forced to back away for a tad bit as Manar gets tagged up in return. It's teasing each other. Glue wall melter is going to be laid out. FGL getting the damage in, and Fury with the Mac 10 will be able to spray it down. Fury turned right back out, but it's a 2-for-1 so far. Celtic getting the advantage here inside the time turner. Palitoso's not going to be able to get the damage, and he's the final survivor left on his squad. That time turner, a life-saving time turner.
Well, Aceto, if this is where the lives of the squad of INV will be, say, Palitoso going solo outside of the blue, past that vending machine, but there's little of contention by Celtic. They want to secure this area of a Refinery and in preparation for rest of the squad who's moving in a bit, but Palitoso might be meeting his end. 1v4 situation if the rest of the squad of 0-1 manage to turn back.
He already used his Moss. The stealth bite's not available for him right now, but it also needs to find some way to hide as he rotates around. He overshot the first vending machine. Neptune would have definitely been a bigger blessing for the INV squad, but now UAV sent out as well. He gets scanned out.
Get into the horse.
Oh, come on, 1 horsepower time. No boost on the horsey though. Come on, let's go, Palitoso! And he gets away. For the time being, AC80 cannot aim at him. And INV somehow holding on. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeehaw! Was that?
Amen.
But Zeus Esports right now dealing with a struggling Caesar, and it is definitely a struggle back and forth for Caesar, and they're just being taken on by every squad that they meet. I'm not sure what is the ideation for Caesar right now. Even Muslim couldn't get into next phase of the circle, and it's starting to hurt. Gaviota might have used a binocular to spot out their opponents. Because of the knockdown, your mindset would be to find the nearest vending machine and hunt them down, probably eliminate them completely.
Palitoso still on the revive spree. 2 players brought in back so far, and Manure helps him out to bring the third one. But as he does that, 0-1 Santi finds him. Caesar's fake 8 about to get taken down here. Sanchez level 1 on the Mac 10, but they do have the numbers. As Terra shows up from the back, Sanchez secures the elimination. And Shadow 7, 6 eliminations in hand thus far. Looking for the Punisher, but I don't think Caesar is going to be pursued by the squad, who's also looking for a better position within the next circle. Neptune, this is a team that has a total of 27 points from 3 games. They are below the 10-point per match average.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it seems like Shadow 7 is looking different right now.
Man.
And the same story for Caesar. I don't know if this is intentional because they don't want to show up on the top of the leaderboard. They don't want to be the target. But with what we're seeing, regardless of you being in the bottom of the leaderboard, you will still be a target by a lot of squad, and they're not even capitalizing on a counterattack against them.
Zeus actually can overtake QE on the number 1 spot. All they need to do is get a 28 or 29 pointer in this game, and they should be able to catch up for sure. Of course, a 29 pointer would be a little bit more convenient. They don't have to sit on the tiebreaker and figure things out. They can just take that number 1 spot away from QE's hands, and QE can't do anything about that as they sit and watch in the lobby. Miacorp now spotting out the players on the side of ZMF. Double shots off of that AWM will not find that mark, but Hugo finally waking up. Celtic Gaming punishing next from the side of Mia.
Yeah, I mean, as a sniper is, he might have his eyes closed earlier, but he opened that one for that snipe and a takedown. But let's see though, Celtic JG in a good spot right now, but another tower being taken by MiaCorp, and it's Biblix who might be going for the backstab against these players. He's not risking those shots just yet. He is like showing trigger discipline for the moment because he don't want to be jumped. He don't want to be hook gunned in there and gunned down. So that is a good spot, a good nest for the snipers for the moment. But Zeus Esports doesn't have a nest, doesn't need a nest, and they're still bringing the numbers.
Politoso still on those revival sprees. 1NT with a high ground. They thought that if they sit down on a high spot, no one can shoot at them. They are wrong. They have to be careful. But bodies just falling all around the battlefield here. And Zeus Esports is going to be the reason a few more hit the floor. Limas finds King though. And Gaviota forced to back away to get the pickup. Beautifully played. Has the Superman on him as well. King patching himself right back up. And Zeus will be able to continue their rotation towards the lower platforms. Stella having a great angle towards the players of Zeus. ZMF on that rotation in a little bit deeper. Celtic will not be able to punish them from this position.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite far from Celtic right now, but ZMF has a good hiding spot, especially if you want to get away from Biblix Sniper, and he has been holding it, and Cryo Mine onto him. So the jig is up for Biblix. He will be spotted, but we are seeing a lot of engagement from the outside of zone. We might be seeing a lot of teams going down. This is the fourth going to fifth phase anyway, so teams need to be weeded out, and 1NT might be losing out in this battle. Andre needs to recover, but he's still firing back, giving an opportunity for a different player. It's Fabian who was able to recover, but there goes a couple players. Only Andre remains, and he does have a medkit. What are you doing? Why not prioritizing on healing?
I mean, Andre, big mess up there in that fight. Did not go for the recovery, and Celtic punishes them with the high ground. You gotta appreciate the refinery platforms for the exact reason that it gives you this bird's eye view all around you, and also the position to quickly find yourself in a different spot on the platform if in case you need to play those quick rotations, as opposed to just being on those lower grounds. Unless, of course, you do have those hook guns. But, you know, those few seconds of lagging in the air could just make you a sitting duck now.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, you will need to get elevation, and that's one reason why a lot of teams has been hanging into Refinery every time we jump in to Kalahari. And one of those is this dish. Satellite dish that can be used quite well. Cover and vantage point. It's Celtic JG who's just going into great positions right now. Going to great lengths. Make sure that they are higher than the rest of the squads.
When you said dish, I immediately was like, what, somebody's cooking something? I got hungry. I don't know why my brain thought of that, but clearly...
Probably you're hungry.
I'm probably hungry. Of all things for my brain to jump to. ZMF down on the lower ground. Celtic up on top on this dish. Limas is going to get spotted out here. And also the circle not doing him any favors whatsoever. The zone will get the deed done as Stella gets taken out in the 8th spot. Not looking good for Stella for today's run.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was expecting Stellar to really move up the ranks, probably get the booyah, and I'm waiting for Salami to pop off. And the chance of saying Salami Tsunami if they get that plenty of elimination. But doesn't happen just yet. Probably tomorrow. For now, it's Celtic GG who's trying to make their way. 3 already on the high ground. Lautas is just waiting for an opportunity. Probably needs a hook gun to be able to make a recap or regroup. But MiaCorp, Drytech's not pick up, but just in time, Josh Bird might be able to deal damage against ZMF if he can clutch it out. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen, and ZMF is just beating them down. Only 1 remains for MiaCorp.
Oh man, I think that was just an ambush that Mia could not deal with, but ZMF Snuffed out just like that. We were just praising them, and Zeus now pulls out the lightning zone. All of those up on top of that refinery platform will be forced to drop down or face the damage and the markers. And Zeus will be able to know exactly where you are to deal with you later on. The rotation around the right. INV now spotted out, but they quickly reposition. Erica finds the final player on the side of Shadow 7 as they try to get away from Zeus. But the time is running out as they quickly reposition. Celtic Gaming watches them step into their crosshairs and they start firing at them. Flashes out. Hugo finds another player from the side of Zeus. Celtic might be able to make this their recovery game with a solid booyah. Not too big on the eliminations, but it doesn't matter. They're finally waking up.
Yeah, definitely waking up. Great position for them. Hugo, great shot onto the glue wall. Iris is helping him in that regards. And this is one reason why I see a lot of those snipers bringing the Iris in that specific situation. You are ought to win. Now, it's a 2v4 situation, and Celtic GG is in a good run to win this fight. They don't even have to move much, but if they want a few more elimination, they can jump.
And they've got the hook guns to quickly reposition without breaking their ankles. What a run from Hugo so far. We've been saying he needs to wake up in the competition, in the fight, and that's exactly what he has done. They've got the electrotherapy, they've got the Iris. Now Fury's now jumping down towards the bottom of the refinery platform. Great movements coming through from the squad. Johan's going to put himself out in the open to be the distracting force for the side of Celtic GG. The rest of INV do not take advantage though. Time to pulled out. Hugo from afar. INV will be punished as Fury finds the shot with the M590 and now on the chase as they circle around that left hand side. The flanks are perfect and Celtic GG with a phenomenal comeback booyah to close the day off on game 6.
Oh, indeed, Celtic GG. Similar story to what we've seen on GCT Arrow. So again, we are not losing hope on Celtic GG. They might look not that tough anymore, but when needed, then they can climb up. They can bring in numbers. Or it might be match specific. It might be just Kalahari that's bringing that prestige for the team, but I'm hoping not.
Yeah, I already pointed out the fact that we don't have Purgatory. We only have one Kalahari. They managed to jump onto this Kalahari, and I think that was a great big benefit for them. Because they are really heavily depending on how Hugo performs in these games. And I think this is the meta for Hugo, but he hasn't fully woken up just yet. But the way they were moving, the way they were focused in getting some of these final fights, it shows that they definitely know how to position themselves well on the lobbies. But the problem is the rest of the players on the side of Celtic have not woken up. They have not brought the Hugo-ness out of them just yet. And I think that's going to be a problem. Because if you don't have some stellar plays, then you're probably going to be with Stella down at the bottom 6.
I do agree. I mean, it is getting tougher and tougher right now, especially with all the groups showing up right now. And take note, that is our final game. So everyone has a better idea of how the rotation worked from them. But probably the element surprise will be happening by tomorrow on Purgatory, because you did mention we don't have Purgatory today, so there's a huge chance that that would be that would bring an element surprise for those who's trying to catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. Overall, what a day it has been here in the knockout stage. Just non-stop action, record setters, record breakers. We saw everything. We saw some of these big teams get clapped. We saw QE just really rise to the top with their 2 booyahs. Nobody has been able to measure up to what QE has done with their booyah game and the consistency. But I'm really curious, how close did Zeus get? Because if they had walked away with the booyah here, Neptune, I think they would have gotten dangerously close, because the number of eliminations plus the placement points would have been good enough to allow them to overtake QE. But with them faltering early, I think their chances dwindled down quite badly.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, there's still a lot, and they couldn't bring in the 29 points that we were talking about. That's what they need to be able to overtake a QE in this fight. So if they survive a little bit longer, if this didn't happen to some players, especially that surprise hit that they managed to pull off against 2 squads, if that didn't, if that continued on, then they could have bring in a lot. But there's still a threat of Celtic GG from that high ground that they cannot do anything because they were at the bottom of that refinery.
Absolutely, man. And of course, towards the very end, first of all, I'll say a great jump off of the refinery platform to get to the bottom spot. At the same time, it was a terrible play by INV to not punish them as they were trying to make their way down. Because Johan literally tried to sacrifice himself by putting himself out in the open, saying, hey, shoot me. But none of the INV players were taking advantage. They just allowed Celtic a free rotation down towards the lower platform. And obviously they ran away with this. Hugo's just one of those few people, one of those few snipers that are still working the Iris in the current meta. Iris is not out of the meta, but I've definitely been focusing on, the viability of this Iris in these final circles, and Hugo just proved that theory correct. Because in the final circle, if you're a good sniper, that Iris is extremely valuable because glue walls mean nothing, especially in these open circles. Kalahari, Purgatory, that Iris rocks.
Yeah, definitely. And even in head-to-head, that Iris does rock in comparison to Zeus Esports Gaviota. So this is a CQC against a sniper, but you can see the damage that is being dealt as well. So elimination being dealt by Hugo. But going back to that story about Iris, again, final moments, and if they can pull off probably sacrificing one of the passive skill, adding a Otho in there. I know this is more of a Clash Squad thing, but in those final moments when everyone is close behind, Memory Mist would be able to slow them down, so it would be easier for the frontliners to finish off the opponents. But that's just me thinking about other ways to make that Iris work.
Absolutely, man. 99 eliminations, out of which Flash? Am I looking at this right? Flash Gaming, wicked. We did not see a lot of the battles of a Flash, but Flash walking away with 17 eliminations. And I think they got about 7 placement points. They got quite deep into the circle earlier on. I just wasn't noticing the amount of chaos they were getting themselves into. But this is a huge step up. This is that recovery game for Flash. But I don't think it's enough to get them out of the bottom 6. Just like Celtic Gaming, I think it was a tad bit too late. But at least Celtic had 2 back-to-back decent games next year.
Yeah, I do agree. Flash, though, they started off, I think it's in Northeast Council Hall or confinement, wherein they got a lot of elimination, almost annihilating one squad. I just forgot who, and then they got that motivation to continue those rotation as well as elimination run. Same goes for Celtic GG, and it's just unfortunate that it's not enough. I don't think they pulled away that far from the 12th spot, but I guess they managed to cross over because like 24 points out of one game after being stuck at the bottom is just a good run for the squad, and they will still have 1 day of play. So it's still very close between a lot of squads right now in terms of the gap between them.
Absolutely, man. They only had 18 before the start of this game. And like you said, if they picked up 24, that should put them in the 40s range, which should be enough to break into the top 12. But down at the bottom, a few of these teams are really being left in the dust. You're talking about 1NT, Caesar, Stella Esports, Nova. Thank you very much, production, for bringing this up. Nova Esports, Stella, Caesar, 1NT in hot soup, man, because look at the number of points it's going to require them to climb. Nova, though, not too far away, 11 points. But if this trend continues on tomorrow with their performance, then obviously you're not going to see them in the grand finals then.
Yeah, one thing that is struggling for side of Nova is every time they go in for the fight, especially in the drop, they always meet up with DZ Esports, and you know how it is when DZ Esports, it makes you feel dizzy, and it makes it look like it's easy for them to annihilate everyone on the early drop. But right now, we're looking into the eliminations, and the bounty being won and retained by Kiskaya QE after a phenomenal run in those first few games.
Man, Zeus, if they had gotten the booyah, guaranteed they would have snuck this one away from QE. But I guess QE just prayed very heavily. We've got the damage bounty as well for the knockout stage. Who is going to get that second bounty? Obviously, we don't find out today because it's not the end of the knockout stage just yet, but the teams in the running for the damage. DZ, even though not topping the charts with the eliminations, they are one of the highest damage, 36k so far, followed by Zeus with 33k, and QE. Surprisingly, the bounty winners for the eliminations are only on 31k damage so far.
And there's one thing that is evident, especially in this bounty of the damage, is if you're participation is on point in every matches, in every chase that you're doing. You are bringing in those damage. Yes, confirmation is not there, elimination is not there, but at least you are aiming for at least one of the bounties that we have, and you can still make put in a lot of pressure against the other team. So a good strategy, but if you can do both on elimination, both on damage, then that's a lot of money in your pocket even before stepping in the grand finals.
Absolutely. But of course, if you can grab that money and then step into the finals and then grab more money, we'll be happy for you. We need consistency, we need chaos, we need all-out aggression out there on these battlefields in order to see that. But today was a phenomenal day. I think the opening of the knockout stage has just been one that has been giving from the very start. QE, I definitely appreciate them because so many exciting games because of them. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is AJ. I'm the Mustachio down here with the one and only Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, if you didn't know us just yet. Thank you for joining us on this broadcast. It has been exciting, but the excitement does not stop here. We've got another day here for the knockout stage. Tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll catch you guys there.
Focus, aim, ready. Focus, aim, ready. Speed up in the race, fall back, no chase. Turn up with the bass, gotta level up your game.